Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. This is Duchess Discussions.
Warning. This episode contains content that may be disturbing or sensitive to listeners. Discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to Duchess Discussions, where we talk about true crime and missing cases. And tonight I want to talk about a case that's local to me. And we were going to talk about this on Monday night, but we were having bad storms and I lost my Wi-Fi and it didn't come back until Tuesday. And I'm in a hailstorm right now. I don't hear any hail currently, but the wind is really getting up out there. So if I lose you guys, it's probably my Wi-Fi, and I do apologize in advance. And if we do lose Wi-Fi for whatever reason, I promise that I will bring it back as soon as I can so that we can have this very important conversation. Vibrator, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the crew. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
It goes 1, 2, 3. I'm a memory, figuring out the perfect crime. All they'll see is a mystery. It'll keep them up at night, but they'll never know. Haunted by my
and camshaft.
bleach my hair, something's in the air, winds take me away. It goes 1, 2, 3. I'm a memory, figuring out the perfect crime. All they'll see is a mystery. It'll keep them up at night, but they'll never know. Haunted by my ghost.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the members and moderators that are here tonight. I want to give a big shout out to my mod team. I really appreciate all their help and everything they're doing. I did give out links to a couple of people to come up and join me if they want to talk about this conversation, because I think it's a very important discussion that we need to have. I know there's different people that have a lot of different views. But I still believe that there is some type of justice that's needed for Mica Miller. Because I'm not sure if I'm buying everything that's going on in this case. I'm just going to be honest with you. And her memory deserves to be kept with honor and grace and dignity and respect. But I think this case has gone viral. You know, it's made it to national news. News Nation has covered it. I saw that Nancy Grace did a video. I digress on that. But I still have questions. There's things that me and a couple of my admins have been talking about, and my good friends, you know, and it's a very sad case. Yes, Hannah. It's good to see you, Hannah. I hope you're good. Hadn't seen you in a while. And Camshaft, thank you for becoming a new member. It's always good to see you. I wish that I could talk about the Tyler Doyle case, but Sled has asked me not to, and that's why I'm not covering it. And I appreciate everyone that respects that. And as soon as I get the go-ahead to talk about Tyler's case, I will do that. But we do need to have a serious discussion about what has happened, because I have a lot of questions, and I want to have an understanding as a domestic violence survivor myself in the same county, no less. You know, going through the same struggles, or I wouldn't say necessarily the same. I don't know exactly what and all she went through. I know what I went through, and I can only imagine what Mica had to go through. But it took a long time to get anybody to pay attention. You know, I would call law enforcement and they would come out and they wouldn't do anything. He'd go to court and he would get out. You know, and that's what really worries me when I started really looking in depth. And I've seen many creators talk about this and put out information about this case that was very, very shocking to me. I FOIA'd some information, but I saw that some other creators had gotten some information too. And it makes me have to take a long, hard look, you know, at the county where I live. Because, you know, like I said, this case is local to me, and I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. We have to take this situation seriously. Because this is not just like one of those things that just rarely ever happens. It happens every day in this county and all across the United States and around the world. Sonia, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me go over here to the chat and see what you guys are saying. It's always good to see you, Sonia. I'm so glad that you joined the members. Yeah, it is better tonight, I think, now that all the facts have come out, because it's something I think we really have to kind of walk through. You know, I can't just come out and say that somebody, once again, is guilty of something without the evidence. As much as this, I can't call him a pastor, y'all. I can't. This man who portrays himself to be a man of God. It just makes my blood boil. People hiding behind religion and things like that to be a nefarious person. Yeah, it's tough. And I did go to the memorial, and that was it was very sad to see her family. They were so distraught. It was heartbreaking. And I did talk to a couple of people from the church that also left the church. She's actually was started attending a church that my husband and I go to sometimes. A lot of times I watch the online service because I don't be peopling. Okay. And but for special occasions, we would go to Valorious Church, and that's where Micah had started attending. And I had not been there since she had started going to that church. And I really do hope that my very good friend Cold Case Crystal will come up and join me, because she has a lot of good insight about things that I want her to share, because I think it's really important. Hey, Lippy. I'm so glad to see you, hon. I hope you're doing good. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Summer. Yeah, same here, Lindsay. It's good to see you. My prayers go out to your friend and to anyone. Listen, the mods are going to be dropping some links. If you are going through something and you are struggling, there are people here in this community that are actually good people and they care about you. And that's why we drop these links. If you need help, reach out to someone that you feel comfortable talking to. And if you don't feel comfortable with someone in your real life or someone that you know through Discord or YouTube, I encourage you to always keep these numbers on hand, these websites. You never know if you might need it just to give to a friend, or if you might need it for yourself. And don't forget about 988. If you ever feel like there's something that you can't handle in life, call and talk to somebody. It's really, really important. Thank you, Allie, for the National DV hotline. Yes. Lippy says, I was raised Catholic and Southern Baptist, totally opposite, but my parents didn't force it on us. Well, that's good. I think you should have the right to be able to choose. My mom's family comes from a Quaker background. My dad's family is Scottish and Norwegian, and they're Catholic turned Protestant. So, but they never made us choose. And I wouldn't necessarily choose either one of those. So, because that's not how I identify. My relationship with Jesus is, it's a personal relationship. I'm not going to let somebody tell me the rules of what I can go by. Popcorn, I totally respect that. And that's why I gave the trigger warning in the beginning, because before I get started, I just wanted to come in and visit with you guys for a few minutes to let you know that this might be a difficult conversation, to look at all of these things. But I want people that need the awareness to look at all of the signs and things, because if you have a friend that's going through something and you think it doesn't look right, feel right, pass the litmus test for you, don't stop reaching out to your friend, even if they seem like they're distancing themselves. If you think something could be wrong, check on your people, to let them know, hey, if something's going on, I'm here for you. If you just want to talk. Because it's not a time to really offer suggestions, but it's just a time to say, hey, I'm here to listen, and you can just, lean on me, and I'm not going to tell you what to do about anything. Just let it out and know that I hear you. And I think it's really important just to have somebody to talk to. That's why I love going to my therapist. I agree, Vibrator. I wouldn't know what to do without. I adore you too, Earth. Thank you. I think there is a lot to be learned from Micah's coverage, Arctic, and how Sebastian is being covered. Yeah, I agree. He says a few days ago, creators had already tried and convicted JP and were ready to give him the chair. Listen, I don't agree with the things that he's still doing. Obviously, there were some really triggered things that's happened to Micah that involve him. And I can't help but wonder, is this what pushed her to this? Because I saw a woman portrayed by her family and her friends at church, that someone that was starting over. She made a hair appointment the next Tuesday. She already had that book. She borrowed money to pay her taxes. She did all of these things. So it feels off to me. Hey, Kathy P., I'm so glad you're here, darling. Thank you for being here. Yes, they already had the memorial, Rondi, and I went, and I did get a, actually, I set it over here on my table. Let me go grab that. This rain has me all stopped up. I was out there fighting the wind and rain, trying to get my plants in before they blew off the porch. It's crazy hectic out there. There was a beautiful pamphlet that they gave me. And I'll show that with right now. Hey, Connie. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, I was there. And I'll share a couple pictures with you. Let me get my... Now, listen, if I start going in and out, y'all give me some emojis in the chat and let me know, because I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is going to stay on. We'll just start out with this picture. This was the family going to place some flowers in the water as a send-off. And it was very emotional. Anybody recognize anybody in the picture? Hello, Tracy. Lippy says, honestly, I never seen a worse case of emotional abuse, lies, and sabotage than my sister's ex-husband, and I don't know how she didn't end up like Mica. Yeah. Hey, Amethyst Moon, aka Hoodie and a Crowbar. I love that so much. It feels off to people who have not experienced this trauma. My dad went grocery shopping and paid. 30 minutes later, he did the same as Mica. Oh, wow. I'm so very sorry, Amethyst Moon. My heart goes out to you. The memorial was very nice. My heart just breaks for her and her family. Sadly, some aren't stopping putting the crap out. Yeah. This is another view. There were people that were speaking at the front, but the ocean and the wind was so loud. If you stood on either side, the left or the right, you couldn't really hear what they were saying, because they had this tiny little speaker they were speaking with their microphone that was hooked up to it. So you had to, I had to walk around a couple of times to really find the best place, that I could really kind of hear what they were saying. This was the actual post for that memorial service there. Here's another shot. It was really good. And I think there is a video that there were a lot of news people there. Fitz News was there. Yes, JLR was there. WPDE ABC 15 was right in front of me, and she said hey to me, because I've actually talked with her before on Tyler's case. So, and they had all of these little flowers placed on the ground next to her name. And so at the end of the service, they all took the buds of the flowers that were around her name, and the family, went out to the water to put them in the water. Yeah, it was very sentimental. Well, we know him by his red shorts, I believe. He didn't speak to me. He did look at me kind of weird a couple times. I was like, I don't think he knows who I am. Yeah, we might look at a couple of those. Yeah, there is no shame. There is no shame. Listen, we all need help sometimes. None of us are perfect. Jody says, my dad took his life, and with all this, I've been talking about it even more. I think it's good sometimes to share your story because it can help others. And I appreciate you being here, Jody, and sharing that. And I appreciate you, Amethyst Moon, and Lippy for sharing your friend's story. You know, this is a safe place where we can talk about things. This is a hard situation, and her family must be so distraught. Yeah, there's a really good number to have. Victim Connect stalking. You know, learn about the different types of stalking and know that you can call somebody if you need help, but don't ever hesitate to reach out and call 911 immediately if you think you're in danger. I don't care if you have to continue to report it. Don't let law enforcement steer you away from doing the right thing because you have to protect yourself, whether you're a man or a woman. If you're a victim of abuse, it can be mental, physical, verbal, emotional manipulation, financial abuse. Don't let them do that to you. No, he was not. Cotton Candy, you and Lippy sit together. Y'all pull up a couch. Get some coffee. This is this is the flyer. It's got her a picture of her on it, and it said Mica loved God and loved people. She was born in Wichita, Kansas, and it has her mother, father, and stepfather, and all of her siblings. She attended Socastee High School, and she was Miss Socastee. She graduated St. James. She won Miss St. James as well. She was a missionary in Kenya and had recently started the Works of Faith First Academy through her Papa Pastor Jumba. And her sister Sierra will continue the legacy in her stead to the best of her ability. It will not end with Mica. She had already started the paperwork to create a new charity under her control that will be announced at a later date. Dare to Care Missions was taken over by her estranged husband. Chris Burroughs went above and beyond for Mica to be honored in her passing. Burroughs Funeral Home and Cremation Services, and that is a large funeral home. Burroughs and Chapin actually owns a lot of property in Myrtle Beach. And so this is the flyer. I'll share it with y'all now that they gave me. It's on card. It's like this thick paper stock. She's my son's age. Born the same year as my son. And that scares me a lot. You know? My son is born in August. So they're not that far apart. And I think about, what if that was my kid? It just breaks my heart for her parents to see them so sad at the memorial. They were heartbroken. We have to be the change. We have to be the change. That's why the moderators always share these different links in my chat, because you never know if somebody's out there struggling. A lot of people come to YouTube because they come here to escape their real life. You really don't know what people are going through in their real life, guys. You can't judge somebody from behind the computer screen to know what their daily struggles are. Thank you, Chaptas, for being a member for a month. One of my favorite names on YouTube. You're so beautiful. You have a beautiful heart. Thank you so very much. Wait a minute, you're back, but you don't know how long? I need you to come up and talk to me so I don't lose it on the stream, because I'm going to start crying in about 5 seconds. Okay. So when we talk about Mica's case, this case unfolded after Mica was found deceased. Not in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where she's from, but in Lumberton, North Carolina, which is 83 miles kind of northwest of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the Lumber River State Park. This story is just, I kept trying to think, could there be some type of link as to why Mica went to that area? Turns out there was no link. She was just looking for a state park, I guess somewhere where she thought she would have some type of privacy. The more that I started looking into it, the more that I got the chills. I thought, this can't be possible. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest. Like I said, she was found deceased at the Lumber River State Park. We didn't really know a lot of information in the beginning. But as you guys knew, after I couldn't go live on Monday, a lot of stuff broke on Tuesday, the day after that. So we know that her husband, John Paul Miller, who was I don't know if you would say former, he is on a leave of absence from the Solid Rock Church at Market Common in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, had announced to everyone in a very strange way, and we're probably going to take a look at that, said that his wife's death was a suicide. And of course, we know that on Monday, the medical examiner said that Mica passed away from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But family members have called on authorities to investigate her death, which they say came days after she filed for divorce. And many of her friends, which I did speak to a few of them at the memorial, and they have said that they don't believe that she took her life. Even after hearing all of the information, they are still in disbelief. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office in North Carolina, Sheriff Wilkins, they finally met with Miller's family on Tuesday to discuss the specific medical examiner's findings. Let me tell you guys something. This is one thing that I have a really big problem with. Why did the medical examiner go to social media and the news and tell them about her case before they spoke to the family to tell them personally. They did you know that the medical examiner did not even talk to the police department, the sheriff's office? They also found out all of the details after the fact. Put a 1 in the chat if you have questions about that, because I have personal feelings on that. That is not the order of protocols. You report to the sheriff's office who's doing the investigation so they can tell the family, and then they will put it out to the media. Can you imagine being a family and having a child that has taken their own life, and you find out about all of what your synopsis is on some kind of news article from the local TV station? Can you imagine sitting there watching on TV, and all of a sudden there's a news article saying that the medical examiner has drawn this conclusion? That doesn't even make sense to me. That made me furious. That's an injustice in itself. I got questions. Dutchie got questions. We have a special guest. Hold, please. Hello.
Hello, girl.
I'm so glad
I'm
you
going to
came.
try to do this. I can't make no promises. It's coming a monsoon.
Well, it's monsoon in here. There must be some kind of furious outbreak of storms. Yeah, Michelle, listen, that medical examiner was not supposed to be working that day, yet there he was mysteriously. I got
Dutch,
questions.
I heard an interview earlier that did kind of make a connect with a national park.
Okay.
A lady that knows the pastor did an interview, and she said that this interview was by his ex-girlfriend. She said that JP and his dad all like to hang out at national parks, that they were real big on parks.
I think the more interesting part to me, besides that, was the fact that when I got up today, there was an article from my local news station, and back home where my sister is, and I that was the first thing I saw when I woke up, and the title of the article says, Mica Miller's husband groomed her years before their marriage and refused to let her drive, police report says.
Yes.
And listen, we have FOIA'd a lot of documents. We've talked about this. Mica Miller apparently made an allegation back in February about a stolen vehicle after being discharged from an involuntary hospital stay, which I thought was very interesting. And then, of course, it went on to say that, Mica took her own life on April the 27th, and that was just 2 days after serving John Paul, the former senior pastor at Solid Rock Church in Market Common, with divorce papers. She was a vital part of the church, leading youth worship sessions, and the women's ministry. And, this all happened after well-documented claims of abuse within her marriage, substantiated by court records that were filed last week by her siblings, which I have some of those documents. And this was in a bid to control her estate. And in those 2 affidavits, which was filed by Sierra and Nathaniel Francis, they allege a pattern of abuse and harassment toward Mica by her husband, echoed in Miller's comments to police back in February. And it also stated that she had been separated from her husband since January of 2023. And it also stated she was involuntarily hospitalized. And when she was discharged from the hospital, the staff informed her that her husband picked up her purse and her car keys. Excuse me? I mean, make that make sense. And it also says that she's known her husband since she was 10 years old. and that he groomed her while she worked for him at Solid Rock Church until they married 6 years ago. But Crystal, is this the first instance that we have seen a situation that involves John Paul and other women? Because when I
No,
got to looking into it, that's not the case, because apparently he was married before and cheated on that wife. Is that correct?
from everything I can find, it's correct.
I mean, this is insane. I just don't even know what to even make of all of this. I mean, the
This
documentation is
is something
damaging.
that bothers me. Something that bothers me. I mean, if if you look at the timeline of events that the
Yeah,
police have put out, I mean,
I have a timeline myself, but the
I
timeline the
mean,
police has may be different.
the thing that bothers me the most is he didn't have to do it himself. I'm trying to censor myself, but he didn't have to do that himself. If you watch his sermons that he preached, he was abusing her behind the pulpit. He
Oh
was
yeah.
using the pulpit to humiliate his wife. And I just heard an interview with a um, member's wife who said they want them to go to the doctors that are in the church, and there's judges in the church, and it's more cult like. And Dutch, as I shared with you today, their code of ethics, which is, don't get me wrong now, you know good and well, when I first heard about this case, I was like, nah, don't know. I'm not going to go there. That's a pastor, but Bible says you can judge them by the fruit they bear. And I'm sorry, but if you're bearing prunes, I'm gonna call it prunes.
Right.
I mean, code of ethics is nothing like what I saw in churches. I mean, really, it isn't. It looks more like a cult leading to me. You are not allowed to have your own opinion. Now, people don't take this from myself. I'm here to tell you that it was the one of their code of ethics was you have to ask permission before giving your opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to hang on one second. I'm trying to get into my Facebook because I want to share that with you as well, so that
I'm
you
going to
guys can
mute
see it.
Dutch. I gotta go check on the baby right quick.
Okay. Okay. Well, it says it's sending me a text, but apparently it's not doing anything. Hang on a second. Come on, Facebook. I don't know. It's being wonky. Hang on. Okay, let's see. Hang on a second. It only takes 15 minutes to do one thing with all these different codes you got to enter. Are you there? I hear you in the
Yeah, I'm
background, but
here.
okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
here.
All right, stay logged. Yes, stay logged in. Okay. Now I've got to go find these. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and I also invited my friend AJ to come up. She's been really putting out her 10 cents on this case, and she has some really good thoughts and things she's picked up on too that I thought was really interesting. So, but I want to just play a couple things for you guys. For anyone that's not familiar with this case, I just want you to see a few things that, to kind of bring this around. He took down the long version. However, this second service, he preaches not one, but two before the announcement. So let's see what he's saying.
Request to you is that you will I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. So y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because I don't want to I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
Okay, hold on. Do you want to say anything before I do?
Okay, self-induced is not something that you do to yourself. I mean, that's completely different than self-inflicted.
Right. I think so. It's two different things.
To me, there is so much wrong with the way he is wording every bit of this. And I know people misspeak, but I will say this is a man that is used to speaking. He stands behind a pulpit every single Sunday.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
He starts this off with telling his congregation exactly how to respond. I mean, to me,
This
he's
is
not
what I
just
want you to do.
controlling her. He's controlling the whole conversation.
Exactly, which is why I want you to talk about, some of the things that you were telling me about the church. That's why I want to play a couple of these videos.
And we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't, y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her.
Sir, you felt like you needed to say that to the church? Reel it in, Dutch.
Not the time,
Medicine
not the
that was
place.
hard to get to her.
But
And so
yeah, it's neither one of those things for sure.
But the thing about it is, and I don't know if you'll have time, but there is a interview out there that I dropped it in Discord. But he was telling members that her being schizophrenic was demon possession.
Yeah, we're going to probably have to watch that for sure.
I'm sure there'll be more details to come, but just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, a bishop, he can pray. I'll give him a microphone. He'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well.
This irritates me. Okay, let me go back and see if I can. You know what? Let me go find this other one. You said you dropped it in Discord?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get it.
Arctic, you're right. I don't hear no compassion in his voice at all.
Is it in her room,
Oh no, it's in
or is it in
ours.
our chat?
It's in our chat. It
Okay,
is with Justin
let me
from
scroll back
TikTok,
up and
but
see
the
if I can find.
information is, I mean, I think it's very important. And there's, like I said, there's a code of ethics that they go by. One thing that I did not like was you have to ask permission to give your opinion. And if somebody else gives this acronym to let you know you've crossed the boundary. You can't make this up. And now the church has deleted that, but it is on a archived like database. That's how I got it.
It must be way up here because I cannot find it. I see a bunch of stuff, but I'm not to that yet.
Let me try to Michelle, can you send it to her?
Listen, we'll go to the moon. We'll go directly to the moon, and we will not pass go or collect $200. And that's just how it is. Because I'm Dutch, and that's how I be. We'll go straight to the moon. To the moon, Alice.
I'd go out and send it, but I'm afraid that the one with Justin from TikTok, the interview, he interviews a church
What am I
member's
saying?
wife. And I say that because she also says in this that you have to submit a video to become a member of that church and be approved. Evidently, not
So I
everybody
heard.
makes the cut.
Okay, Allie sent it to me on my phone, so let me copy this link. Michelle, I'm gonna drop it in your chat, your thing, so I can pick it up in Discord. All the things. Okay, here we go. Okay, I got it now. Teamwork makes the dream work, y'all.
If you haven't watched this, you're going to be upset. I'll just leave it there.
Well, I don't watch him, so there's that. Okay, so everybody, this is Justin on TikTok, talking about Mica Miller, what it was like inside that church. We will, if somebody can drop his link, let me see if I can get his link, and I will just share this link here in the chat. Hold the phone. Okay, here's the link to this video if you want to go over to Justin on TikTok, but all right, let me share my screen. Thank you, Michelle, for dropping that. Okay, credit to Justin on TikTok. Fair use, fair use. This is important. This is education. We need to know all the things. Okay, let's hear about it. We don't have time for all that.
Miller, and you've seen the layers of the onion being peeled back, you know that it's a very convoluted case. And to me, it very much mimics that of the Murdaghs.
You'll see 3 icons on
We
there.
don't want anybody to get hurt or threatened or whatever.
That's when she comes up.
So it's more important
If
to me
you
to
want to
make sure.
fast forward it to that point.
So yeah, I got to see Mica firsthand quite a bit, and the times that
Hang on, let me go back.
I
Here we go. Okay.
We love
Let's
you,
try it
Artie.
from right here.
The people that I have on here tonight, basically, we're going to try to protect their identities. If you guys have seen this case about Mica Miller, and you've seen the layers of the onion being peeled back, you know that it's a very convoluted case. And to me, somebody as a member of the church, but she was not a member. And she can tell you her story as to why she wasn't a member, but she brings this perspective of being able to look at it from an outside lens and seeing everything the way it went down. And I feel like this is really important as we delve into the story to really understand what it was like inside that church, being married to somebody who was inside that church and being forced to go there even though they didn't want to. So that's kind of what we're getting into tonight. So with that said, let me bring our guests on. There you go. How are you guys doing?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. So again, we want to make sure that you guys stay safe. So anything that you're not comfortable talking about, do not feel obligated. But Kay, why don't you heard what I kind of said, why don't you introduce yourself, how you know Mica and your relationship with Solid Rock and the pastor John Paul.
Yeah. So it was a very unexpected relationship that I gained with that church. My husband started going a year and a half ago, and I was not going because I'm very peculiar about what churches that I join. And then he asked me to go, and I went. And then after that, it was just like everybody was extremely bent on me going. So I was forced to go to quite a few sermons, which is the reason why, not being a member, I know more than a non-member typically knows. And then as well, my sister was friends with him, with his best friend 25 years ago, 20 years ago, but was best friends with his first wife, JP's first wife, and watched that relationship fall, and then him going with Mica. And then and I did not even know that my sister knew him until I got involved with the church, and things started getting weird. And I asked my sister, hey, do you know anything about this church? And unfortunately, she knew a little bit too much for comfort. But so yeah, I got to see Mica firsthand quite a bit, and the times that I was there, and even though I refused to be a member.
So I know that obviously you felt that you needed to speak out and share your story and what you know. What, if you don't mind me asking, what's compelling you to want to do that, knowing the risks and everything that are out there?
Oh, well, okay. So I actually haven't been asked in that way, and I extremely appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah. So for a year and a half now, like, my life doesn't look anything like it used to. And it all started with just like really weird, minute things that you would normally play off. Like when my husband started going, he became a completely different person. Like, I don't know him anymore. And it was so dramatic of a change that I was like honestly scared. And then whenever I would refuse to go because he started getting to where like he would threaten me, and the church was calling and like saying that I needed to go, I started getting scared that like, hey, like something weird is going on. So I reached out to the elders of the church. And
That's weird.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see a church calling and checking on you if you're sick, but calling and saying you need to go, it gets worse
What?
though. And if you will also notice what she says, that she knew some things that usual non-members don't know because she was forced to go. Church is supposed to be transparent. So what's going on that non-members don't know? I question if people are able to freely visit this church. I've been in a lot of churches before, but now I've not ever been into one like this.
This is crazy.
and asked what was going on. It felt like my husband was being brainwashed, and I was very uncomfortable. And that helps. Like, it slowed down. But then shortly after, he was being taught how to make me subservient. Like, and I have the pamphlets. Like, it is really uncomfortable to read, how to make me subservient and obedient, and how they were telling him that if I wasn't a part of the church, that he was going to go to hell. And he took that extremely.
Okay, pause it.
these very high.
Mm.
They were giving him pamphlets to teach him how to make her obedient, and told him if she doesn't go to church, he's going to go to hell. Okay, now, yes, I do know the Bible says, and I'm coming at this from a Bible point of view. I know everybody's got their own beliefs, but the Bible says for a wife to be submissive. But guess what? The Bible tells a husband to love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. It seems like they're picking, Mama used to call them nitpicker, pick and pluck,
Mm-hmm.
pick the verses that fit you out of the Bible and don't take it all. You got to
Exactly.
rightfully divide the word.
I agree 100%. This gave me chills. I'm sorry, but
This ain't even the beginning of it. This woman was afraid herself. She talks about I'll let her tell it.
oh my gosh. Okay, remember, guys, this is Justin on TikTok's video, and he gets full credit for this interview. This is very, very interesting.
Extreme changes in his personality that I could only accredit to the church's influence was what made me start asking questions. And then after that, it was the extreme reaction of me asking a question that then prompted my concern even greater, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah, like if I questioned or asked anything, it was the reaction was so horrid that I just stopped asking eventually, I mean, like, then, like, he, like, used to respect my, like, spiritual and religious views so much, and then all of a sudden, he was calling me evil and saying that the church needed to pray demons out of me because only the demons were making me not like the church.
Now, notice how much he talks about demons. When I did my live the other day, he said that women will say, I need someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's one
And
of the
he
other ones I want
called,
to play.
yeah, he called that a demon when the Bible tells you to comfort one another. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, read it. It tells you to comfort one another. But he's calling it a demon.
Gosh.
And that is a scare tactic. What was it that Hitler used to say?
I don't know. Tell me.
Oh, he said that he would say that the one way to control people was by fear.
Well, yeah.
What do cults do? All cults have the same thing. They have something that they're using for fear. Jim Jones said that they were all going to be blamed for the shooting that he knew was going to take place because he set it up. Then you've got David Koresh that the armies was going to come against them and they were going to have to stand up and battle. I mean, they use fear against these people. And in my opinion, he's doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's not good. I'm just getting this is not normal, I don't think, in my opinion. Let's continue.
And I want to interject real quick if I may.
Oh,
Sorry, you
go
might
ahead,
be
Crystal. Did you want to add something else before we get started?
Nah, everything that I hear from this gives me cult feelings. It's a cult vibe all the way around it. Just listen to it.
Yeah, I agree.
about to say this. You might have,
Yeah.
but I want to go back to the statement because you just said, pray the demons out of you. And I want to go
Yeah.
back to the statement that was made by, I don't think I have it on. Maybe I do have it on here. Let me look. Let me see a second. There's a very good chance. Yeah, I do have it. I'm going to pull this up real quick. This was the statement that Susie Skinner made in regard to, her why she wasn't on a date which this is the statement. If you were here yesterday, I said, where she says, he's my friend. His wife died 4 days ago. He had no one to eat with. He asked people to go and sit with him. No one could go. So when he asked if I could, I went. We've been friends for years. It wasn't a date. The statement could have ended right there.
Yeah.
It didn't. But one of the things I want to go down to is here at the very bottom, where she talks about a few weeks ago, she threw a belt out the car window while driving down the highway because she thought it was a snake. She was
Now, I'm going to read what this whole thing says because I think context is everything. Hang on, I just made it smaller. It says, this is what she said. He is my friend. His wife died 4 days ago and he had no one to eat with. He asked some people to sit with him, but no one could go. So he asked if I could go. I went. We've been friends for years. It wasn't a date. People also said he killed his wife, but we think she called the police before she did that, and said she bought a gun and wanted to kill herself and wanted to make sure they could ping her phone so her family could find the body. Could find. That doesn't even make sense why she'd put could find on the end of that. This is from the nurse at the hospital. Then she did it. She has attempted suicide before. She is schizophrenic, bipolar, and has dependent personality disorder. She put herself off her medication starting in December against her doctor's orders and JP's wishes, and even texted her family to tell them she was doing it. This is the longest she has been off lithium since being diagnosed in 2017. A few weeks ago, she threw a belt out of the car while driving on the highway because she thought it was a snake. She was recently playing chess alone and talking to herself, and when they asked her what she was doing, she said playing chess with the demon. She was very, not extremely, mentally ill. Wait a minute, does that make sense? She was very, not extremely, mentally ill. What is she trying to say in this sentence? That's like contraindicating. Okay. And the people who post things like this on social media haven't spoken to her or JP in years. That's not true either. So let's go back for a moment. I need to hop over here to this because
You
I
know
wanna
what,
show you
Dutch? Before
something.
you do that, there's something I want to ask you.
Ask me.
Do you notice something that just this member, just a friend, the information that she has on her? How many of your friends knows what medicine you take?
Yeah, exactly. I think he probably told the whole
How does
church,
she
like,
know everything that she's doing that day?
I think this video right here spoke a lot for what she just wrote in that. I want you guys to listen to this and give me your thoughts about it, because this is the thing that really triggered me, was knowing about all of these people saying, and I have another video that I want you to watch about somebody else as well. But I want you to hear what she's saying in this video. And this was March the 22nd. Okay. This is really, really important. So let's go back and hear this.
I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or
Did you just see that face?
Yes. That says, in my opinion, I think that she's kind of uh it's almost like she's talking to him, because also in
Yes.
this video she's like she talks about being the bride of Christ first. But yeah, you could tell that she is saying, hey, I've been there, just with her facial expressions. But I also felt that it is very telling that the wording that she uses is slavery, bondage, right
Yeah.
before she mentions that.
This was key to me.
don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs,
What
or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
No true words could be said right there,
Yeah. And,
because we all know the answer.
she left out one abuse that people don't talk about much, Dutch. But there's spiritual abuse too.
Yes. And I think JP knows all about that. And we're going to watch some more videos here in a second, because I got some things I want to show you.
So I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is, you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
Dutch, I may be completely off par with this, but this almost sounds like a rebuttal to somebody saying, you're wanting to divorce me? You know that God don't like divorce.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find this other video. I don't know if I'll be able to find it on here.
Yes, spiritual abuse is real. And I think that JP knew this. I think he knew what he was doing. You can use somebody's fear of not doing what the Lord wants them to do against them, of failing God. You can use that against them. And I think he did in every way that he could. Not just her, but I think he does his whole congregation like that. And trust me, I listened to this man over the weekend. I went to YouTube and listened to his sermons. By the way, the 30 minutes, that's in the core value list, Dutch, that you'll get a 30-minute sermon if you're a member there. It's weird. It's odd. But, I think God should plan your sermons. You shouldn't really have a time limit on it, but
This little gem right here was something I actually saw on Fitz News first, but then I saw that it was because this lady that works for Fitz News, I guess, went down the newspaper archives of the Myrtle Beach Sun News, that's our local newspaper, and found this little tidbit. And it turns out that really is John Paul Miller right there at age 19, where he used to live. I know exactly where Southwood Drive is. Assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature. The indictment charges Miller with hitting a woman twice with his vehicle at a high rate of speed back in 1998.
Well, I mean, with his own lips, he said he was a felon by the time he was 17.
Yep. Hit a woman twice with his vehicle. We're not talking about in a car, guys. We're talking about a actual person at age 19. It's for real because I've seen his charges. I just didn't know it was connected in this way. I just saw the ABHAN, because that is the acronym they put that in as. Yeah, Jaded. He ran a woman down, apparently. Probably another one, a scenario just like this.
Yeah.
This is you can't be using Jesus as a shield and out here doing this mess right here. You know, that made my blood boil.
I don't understand how a man that's
Answer to their
named
prayer.
after two apostles could miss the
The
mark
results
so
of the
bad.
test came back. We were so sorry. We got it.
Hang on, let me stop that so you can finish what you were saying. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said that I don't understand how somebody named after two apostles could miss the mark so bad.
Jesus is probably asking himself the same question, girl. All right, so let's listen to this little piece right here. I think that this must be the announcement. That must be the same one. This isn't the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for.
I was
You
going
know
to
what?
say if it's not, he
I bet
needs
it's
to buy
over
another
here.
shirt.
Hang on. I bet it's over here. Let me see if I can find it.
And you know, I keep hearing people say the church. The church people, listen, the church is us. We are the church. It's not a building. Please don't judge all churches by this one. Because I'll be the first to tell you now, the devil is the first one in the church house and the last one to leave.
And he knows that Bible backwards and forwards.
Yes, he does.
Say that, and it starts festering.
Let me see. I think this was one of the ones that this little clip that you put in the Discord. I think that you clipped. I thought it was really interesting. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it over here on Facebook.
Good luck. I went back to look for it over and over and over. But I do have all them little bitty clips.
I do see the little bitty clips. I was wanting to see if I could find the big one, but oh, here's one right here. Let me share my screen on this one.
And so Samson went out in Judges 16:1. He went to Gaza and he saw a loose woman and went to her because the lust was in his heart. And here's the funny thing. How can you tell a loose woman just by the way she looks? That's very interesting to me. Samson could look at a woman and tell whether or not she was loose. You mean tell you how? if she doesn't wear a bra, if her bathing suit in the back barely covers up her crack, and if every picture on social media is either in a bikini or showing off her chest. That's how a man can tell if a woman's loose. So if your daughter dresses like that, I don't want to say be ashamed because that's not godly. If your daughter dresses like that, you need to be convicted of it and teach her how to be a modest girl and a modest woman, because every unsafe man in the entire world is looking to see bra, bikini thongs, and what she shows on Facebook. That's how you can tell
Oh
a
my
loose
God.
woman. Every man in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's why all of our faces are red right now. And so he found this loose woman, and listen.
Oh my goodness. I hadn't seen that.
Now let me take it to this, because this is what really got me, I think, was, and I think it's on News Nation, was this right here.
So what did he do? Just stand up and preach every Sunday on women? Did he not think a man can sin?
Well,
Evidently, he didn't read that it was Judas, not Mary, that betrayed Jesus. Yeah, it does, Michelle.
do what, Crystal?
I said, Michelle said in his court, let me find it. Crystal, in his court, women are horrible people, it sounds like. Yeah. And you know what's sad? He really needs to study his Bible, because women have been some of the most loyal servants to Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus
this
had
is
12 disciples. Only one made it to the foot of the cross at him. Do you know who else was there? Women.
Well, this is the part that really goes along with what we were just playing about, him talking about women and how they dress. So, let me get over here and share my screen, because you're going to want to see this.
Well, I'll tell you what my Bible says before you do that. The Bible says if you look upon a woman to lust after, you committed adultery in your heart. So if he's noticing everything everybody's wearing, guess what? He don't need behind that pulpit.
Let me take it back just a little bit here.
Just saying.
All right.
Our very own Elizabeth Vargas spoke with a bartender who claims Pastor Miller was flirting with her, left her a huge tip, and gave her his phone number. That was allegedly 2 months before Mica filed for divorce. The bartender reached out to him after learning about Mica's death and says that she was surprised by his response.
He mostly just seemed to ask for pictures. He didn't say anything about meeting up. I kind of suspected that it wasn't going to be what you would expect from a grieving husband.
What did he say?
I asked him if there was anything new, like how have you been, what's new? And he said, lots new, LOL.
News Nation has also been able to confirm with a friend of Mica's that her—
Wait a minute. His wife takes her life, and he sends her a message, lots new, LOL.
Yeah, she sent him a message, said, what's new? And he said, lots new, laughed out loud. But who puts laugh out loud after they've lost their spouse? I don't even care if they're separated.
It's very bizarre to me. Come on. Listen, Mouse.
Her family plans to file some kind of a lawsuit against Pastor Miller. despite the 911 call and medical examiner's report appearing to corroborate his story, Hannah.
The details just get more and more confusing. Emily, thank you so much for
So
shedding.
this is not the full thing. I wanted to find the full story with this woman. Did they take it down? Surely they didn't. Surely they didn't.
Yeah, because the one that I watched showed
Was like the whole clip.
yeah, and he had left her a tip. I mean, it went into details
Yeah, and y'all need
with
to
his
hear what
phone
the
number and his
details.
smiley face.
Yeah, I want you guys to hear all of that. Let's put News Nation and see if it'll bring it up. Oh, I can't even spell.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He did. He asked her for pictures too. Sounds like
That
he
is
had
the part. That's the part I wanted you to hear. I don't see it on here. Let's see. Maybe it'll be under this hashtag. Isn't this it right here?
Listen to this. A waitress in South Carolina shared this
Yes.
receipt with us from a customer she served on February 23rd. Look closely. You see the customer was John Paul Miller, JP Miller, as he's been called. He left that waitress a huge tip, along with his phone number and a smiley face. This was just 2 months before his wife, Mica, filed for divorce. The waitress, who we're referring to only by her first name, Christiana, reached out to John Paul a few days later and had a casual text exchange with him. Afterward, though, she hit the brakes, she says, after some red flags surfaced about him. And then, last week, after Mica killed herself, Christiana reached out to him yet again, not revealing that she'd made the connection between him and his wife. And she was surprised at his response, to say the least. Christiana joins us now. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Let's just get right to it. You most recently texted him after you heard his wife was dead. What surprised you about his response?
Honestly, it didn't really surprise me all that much. I kind of suspected that it wasn't going to be what you would expect from a grieving husband.
What did he say?
It was, well, I asked him if anything was new, and he more or less said, yes, lots new, LOL. I'll text later.
LOL? Laugh out loud?
Yes.
All right. And that it's at that point that you said, okay, no more with this guy, right?
Actually, I was pretty aware of things from the beginning. I had some suspicions. There were some red flags. I did some research before I even texted him. And then after I did, I spoke with a friend of mine whose friend had a very negative experience, a mortifying experience really, with him and his church.
What happened?
And that's her story to tell. I know that she witnessed some things that were not appropriate and faced some harassment when she tried to speak out about it.
So let's go back to, I want to show up that receipt again.
Do y'all see a trend? Do y'all see a trend here? I mean, they're coming out of the woodwork. And they got receipts, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
These women have receipts. Just wait.
Yeah, for that bill. When you waited on him, was he by himself?
He was with another man.
Okay, and we can see here the bill. He leaves you a $66, no, a $20 tip. Is that what it is?
Yes, it was almost a 50% tip.
A 50% tip. Was it clear to you what he meant by leaving a tip like that and with his phone number and a smiley face?
With the phone number and the smiley face included, I think it was pretty clear.
He wanted you to call him.
I would assume that's the implication.
All right. Then you guys exchanged a couple text messages in which he repeatedly asks you to send pictures of yourself.
Yes.
Including bikini pictures, and he called you super hot.
Hang on a second, JP. Let's reel it back in, honey. You just finished saying in your sermon that if you are wearing a bikini, that you must be a loose woman. And now you in a bar with your friend and asking for pictures in her bikini. Boy, bye. You better get out that pulpit, because I am not going to call you Pastor JP ever.
No.
You're ridiculous. And I'm mad. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Hey, Jason. Thank you for
Hey,
being
Dutch.
here. Yeah.
Search sermons JP preached about his wife. I don't know if it was YouTube or TikTok that I saw that on, but it's a
Okay.
combination of the things he said behind the pulpit about her.
Hey, the Astro from space. I've never seen you here. Welcome, welcome to Duchess. He likes his women loose, actually. It sounds like it.
I'll be honest with you. I think he's just a predator.
I do too.
I think he's
a narcissist, self-centered, selfish, misogynist. He's everything that the Lord doesn't want behind the pulpit. Okay.
Yes.
And
yes, many are called, but few are chosen. That's
Debbie
Bible.
Doodles, we're going to go over some of them moral clauses in the church. I think you might be shocked. Let's
Yeah.
finish this one out, because I want you guys to hear the end of this, and then we'll pop over, see if I can find some sermons. And Crystal, I want you to walk us through what the crux of the church what they stand on, because I think you guys will be very interested to hear that. I was kind of shocked. Needless to say, I understand why there was a lot of people that left the church before Mica did and after she did. There's probably people that's been trying to escape the church that's still there, is what I'm afraid of. I mean, this isn't looking good.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, do you think he's a single guy? Do you know he's married? What do you know about him at this point?
A lot of the things especially after the point that I talked to my friend, I was well aware. I hadn't confirmed everything or all of my suspicions until I talked to my friend. But after that point, I was pretty aware of what was up. And I feel like we have a rampant problem in our country, and especially in our churches, with this type of behavior. And I feel that it needs to be brought to light. So I saw an opportunity and I took it.
You got an opportunity to try and get proof that he was propositioning other women while married to his wife.
And the fact that he was a pastor approaching people in this manner.
Yeah. Was there any doubt in your mind what he was asking you for?
No, not at all.
And did he ever ask to meet up with you, or did he just want you to send salacious pictures of yourself?
He mostly just seemed to ask for pictures. He didn't say anything about meeting up.
Okay. Bottom line, though, this is not the behavior you expect from a pastor, a married pastor, to be trying to hook up or get pictures from waitresses at restaurants. So you did finally cut off communication with him after you got the proof you felt you needed. Why is that?
I didn't really have anything else to say to him until I found out what happened. And I just didn't say anything else to him until then.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to...
So she was going to get all the deets, and she was going to put it out to let him know what he was doing. How interesting is that? Okay, let me see if I could. You said you don't know if it's on YouTube or Facebook?
Yeah, it's on one of them. But somebody made a like compilation of his sermons on his wife.
Oh, hold on. I
Love
think
you,
this is
Allie.
it. Okay, I think I got it. If y'all in Alabama, apparently, Vibrator says there is a tornado coming near Huntsville. So if you got to take shelter, do what you got to do. We'll be here when you get back. I want all my people to stay safe. There's a lot of storms that are going across the United States right now. So I just want you guys to know that I'm thinking about you. So please be safe. If you have to leave, like, I completely understand. And I love you guys. And that means you, Arctic. Because he's in Tornado Alley. We've all been getting terrible weather.
Yes, it's been horrible here.
Okay, hang on. I gotta get down here to my. I'm behind in chat. Y'all give me a second.
It breaks my heart, Dutch, to think about what she went through mentally with this man. Because it's one thing to love your husband and him cheat on you, and it looks like he did it repeatedly. But it would be another thing to do it and everybody looking at him like he's a god.
Love you, Allie. I'm so sorry. It's probably the weather, honey. I'm praying for you. Get you some sleep. You probably didn't have a nap today. Allie has to have her naps.
That's where I'm at, Vibrator. It's bad here.
Yeah, and she's flooding. Like, I mean, we've all been getting hit. I had hail earlier, y'all. And we got hit Monday. That's why I couldn't do my live stream, because my Wi-Fi went down. And I was so upset because I was ready. I was, and then I was, so I just, but I mean, my Wi-Fi stayed on. Thank you, Spectrum and Jesus. Okay, I think I have it up. So I'm going to share my screen. Now, if it gets wonky, y'all let me know in the chat. I dread hurricane season 2, Cotton Candy. Oh my gosh, I'm already getting anxiety about it because the flooding. If you've ever watched my channel, you've seen the flooding. Just ask Michelle and Crystal. Oh my God, it's the source of my stress.
It don't have to rain where you're at for it to flood. The moon
No, we just have a king tide on a full moon, and it'll be up to my kneecaps, and the sewage will come out. Lord, them people better get out here and fix that mess. I just can't. You had hail there too, Jody? Oh my gracious! I was waiting for my mama to call me.
We had hail.
Did you really?
Yeah,
girl, you getting it all up there.
We've had hail. We've
Jason,
had
I hope
ground
you're
light.
safe. You've had ground lighting? Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. How did JP's ex lose custody of their 5 kids?
Well, in that, if you listen to the whole interview with the lady on Justin for TikTok, I think that she gives a lot of information without being real blunt about it, because she talks about there's judges in that church, there's doctors in that church, and they prefer you to go to their doctors now.
I think this is the Robbie Harvey. If you're not following him, I would. He has a lot of good information on his page. I kind of checked him out. So you should definitely follow him if you, want to see. That this is actually a really good thing. I didn't get to watch all of it, but y'all, this trigger warning in the chat just in case. Because I'm going to be honest, I should have gave myself a trigger warning when I watched the first part of this. And Crystal had dropped me some clips, and I had seen some clips. And but I think we have to really look at what we're dealing with, because let's face it, I really just am not completely convinced that Micah just went off on this tangent and was like, well, now I've filed for divorce, I've got away from him, blah, 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 blah. And now, after all of this, and I'm on my way to being free and I can live my life for Jesus, I'm going to take my life.
Well, Dutch, you know something that's been bothering me. So the 911 call, she's wanting them to trace her phone because she wants her parents to be able to find her. Right?
Yeah.
But yet she walks a mile away from her vehicle on a path to do it. And then turns her phone on airplane mode.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Cotton Candy says that she's zipping her mouth because she don't like him. I think he has good information, but listen, I haven't listened to him. Does he have a YouTube channel?
Well, I tell you what I do like. I like the fact that he was able to get a lot of the sermons before they pulled them down.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed. I was like, dang, look at this. Boom, 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 you know? And I like being able to not have to work so hard some days. And also Michelle likes not to have to put in 10 FOIAs. I love you, Michelle. I just want to say that. I'm going to
Like
send you a present or
66
something.
pages. 66 pages
Listen,
worth of
she had to
FOIAs.
do a FOIA, and they're like, and they're going to have to send it to me in the mail because they won't even send it in an email. And I was like, well, we'll be over what we're talking about by the time it gets here. Or maybe not. I guess it depends on what's in it. Lord help me. Be careful, Jason. Stay safe.
Well, Cotton Candy, that would explain why he grabbed all of them if he already knows he's a narcissist. A narcissist recognizes a narcissist.
Cotton Candy, she telling us all about it, but also keeping her mouth shut with a couch at the same time. I don't know what that means, Cotton Candy, but you know I love you, girl. Oh my gosh, y'all are cracking me up. Listen, I have to laugh to keep from crying right now. Because listen, when I get anxiety, I do laugh. And I think it's because it's a nervous laugh, because I'm actually nervous about hearing this again. So please put a trigger warning in the chat so I can look at it on my phone and I can receive the trigger warning in my brain, because that's how my ADHD works. Yes, I did give y'all the couch and to sit down and just shh. And you're doing that. And I'm so proud of you. I love you. So y'all hooked me up with a trigger warning with some red flags and all that good stuff. Let me go over here. I'll even help y'all out. I'm going to put my own little trigger warning in here. Just because if you're not able to stay and listen to it, I just want you guys to know. It's okay to just come back and check in a little bit and see if we're through this. This video is 9 minutes. I don't even know if we'll listen to the whole thing because I don't know if I can get through 9 minutes, but here we go.
Paul Miller spoke on a regular basis negatively about his wife. Take a listen.
When my wife went in the hospital, I looked at her phone and I counted over the past 2 years, 18 people who had texted her and said, if you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything and I'll keep it confidential. Why the heck does somebody want to hear what somebody else says about their spouse? And 2 of those 18 were men. I thought, what? And I was thinking, when I read that, I thought, Mark Castaday, he's one of our elders here, and Jackie, she oversees our New Testament discipleship. Could you see Mark calling another woman and saying, you know what, I just want to tell you some things about my wife I don't like? Or could you see Jackie calling a woman or a man, either one? No, if someone wants to call you and say bad things about somebody else, that's a demon talking to you. And the only way to respond is with the word of God.
Going through 2 years worth of messages on his wife's phone, the pastor seems frustrated that people would reach out to talk to her about him and the questionable remarks, whether directly or...
Okay, hang on. Why is he going through his phone? Her phone?
Because he's controlling.
My husband don't ask to look at my phone, and I don't look at his phone. You know why? It's
But-
because we know what we're doing.
But
You
can
know
I
what I'm
just
saying?
say
Like, we
that
don't got
that
nothing to
is
hide.
not just a woman thing.
My God, I can't.
And
But he
let
knows
me
he can.
also, Dutch, let me point this out right quick. He's sitting here
Lord.
talking about women say they need to have somebody talk to, that I don't like the way this is going on, and stuff like that. What's he doing behind the pulpit? He's sitting up there complaining about women.
Yeah, Rondi Potter, I see your question. Why would she leave the car if she wanted them to find her? What do you mean, why would she leave the car?
Because she walked away from her car and walked a mile out on that path to do it. Why not just do it in your car where you're going to be found?
Well, maybe she had to go out there and have I don't know. I can't explain it.
It don't add up.
And how did she make a call on airplane mode? That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, do you think she made the call and then put it on airplane mode? I mean,
but why would you if you're making the call so they can trace your phone? Because that turns off.
Why would
your
you just not leave it
locations.
on?
Exactly.
Maybe because I don't know. It's just. And can I ask you one question? Now, this is just, we haven't really got to this yet, but this is really on, this is the thing I couldn't sleep over last night was, why didn't the cops go out to her? Why didn't the woman offer her like help on the 911 call? You know, like offer to send an officer immediately out there? Like they should have done that immediately. But they
Yes.
called somebody at the state park and asked them to go check to see if she was okay. Are you kidding me right now? You didn't deploy an officer to go out there immediately? Don't get me
I
started.
didn't like the way the dispatch handled the call. For one thing, they're in the call for 2 minutes before they even ask what the emergency is. And then when she says, "Can you trace my phone?" the dispatch is like, "You don't know where you're at?"
The first thing should be 911, what is your emergency?
Emergency.
And then you let them
yes.
talk, not you. I'm just saying, this ain't my first rodeo.
Jason, he is still preaching. He's like on a leave.
But I did see something that showed that the I guess they have a team of these voting members. I think I put it in our chat. Like voted him that he was to step down as like the senior pastor or something like that.
Do you know what that means? He'll
What
be
does that
the
mean?
youth pastor, or that means he's just stepping down. It don't mean he's stepping out. That
Yeah,
means
that's still
somebody
no
that
good. He
has
don't need,
sat under his preaching since 2016 under this name. Because let's keep in mind, the church, his dad had it, and then he got in all that trouble. They changed the name of it. He becomes senior pastor of it. So it just means somebody that sat under his doctrine since 2016 will step up as senior pastor. He'll probably step down as like assistant pastor, or even worse, youth pastor. That doesn't mean he's going to be out of the church and not preaching.
well, no, because he owns the church. It's incorporated. I've seen all the business license.
And
like
they're
all
building
11 of them.
Yeah. And now they're building a mega church, which is supposed to be one of the largest in South Carolina when it gets done.
He's got to go. He's got to go. All right, let's continue.
Or indirectly didn't stop there.
Pride and mental illness, or I think mental illness is probably the most horrible thing we can face in our bodies, and pride is probably the most horrible thing we can face in our spirits. And here's why. When you're mentally ill, it's the one sickness you have that you don't know you're sick. And you have to trust people around you because you're saying, no, they're lying to me. They're telling me I need medicine. I don't need medicine, because the thing that's sick is your mind, and your mind is what you need to realize that you're sick. One day I'm going to preach about getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just kidding.
That one right there gets me. Look at the date on that. That sermon was from March the 10th of 2024.
Remember,
He
she
has
left
a
her in
wife.
January. Because
Yes,
remember,
but
you
he's
were like,
still got a
but
wife.
she was still at the church, but that was an old post with her singing with Cain.
Yeah.
Because
But the thing about it is he is not divorced. He has a wife. A true pastor would be praying for his wife, would be praying for his
yeah,
marriage.
I mean,
he wouldn't be behind the pulpit saying that he needs a hot wife.
This is, Summer, I'm sick of him too. It's no wonder her family is so tore up. Listen, can we get some purple hearts, some candles, some pray hands in the chat for Mica Miller and her family? Because
I think this case bothers me so bad because he's abusing the pulpit, and at the same time he's using the pulpit to abuse his wife. Not only his wife, you all listen to the way he's preaching. He's abusing every man's wife in there.
I just feel like that the disrespect that's happening in the church right now, like, it makes me feel sick.
I may get judged for this, but now I'm just going to tell you, my husband preached for years. If he ever got behind that pulpit and preached on me like that, I'm here to tell you, I would have laid hands on him, and he would have spoken tongues by the time I got done with him, because I would have ringed his jaws. He'd have had one time done it.
You heard it here first. The article's going to start out, God's Amazing Grace with Crystal had a cast iron skillet. And that was all she wrote. So, I mean, I'm so glad that I have a husband that loves me and respects me and doesn't treat me like this. But see, I've already been in a relationship with a man. He wasn't a pastor, but that was abusive, just like this. Like that, it escalates. It doesn't always start out as physical. It starts out with like the narcissism and the control, and then it becomes verbal abuse, and then mental abuse, and then physical abuse. It has these levels. And that's why we want to keep sharing the links to these very important places where you can call and get support if you are going through something like this. Or if you feel like that there's no way out of your situation, there are places out there that can help you get away from monsters like this. Because like Crystal said, you cannot forget spiritual abuse. And what he's doing right now, he is spiritually abusing the church.
Yes.
Right here. This is... Jesus don't like ugly. I'm just saying, let's continue.
That was wrong. I told you I shouldn't be here today. I told you. Last year, my wife, they went to Africa, had a wonderful trip, amazing trip. And she came back with the idea to start a school in Africa. And 6 weeks ago, she goes in the hospital, gets out, and just leaves, just completely leaves me, leaves everything, drains the bank account, and goes. Guess what? While you're talking bad about me out there, I'm building a school in Africa for...
That makes me angry.
Somebody needs to pin his ears back. I'm fixing to go in on this character. And he stole my grandpa's shirt from 1968, and he wants it back. I mean, he's fixing to fly away right now. He looks like one of the... Oh, Jesus, hold me back. Jesus! I can't right now. This
You
he just
know, cotton
this
candy, he
infuriates
does.
me.
He gives me
You
Chris
see how we
Watts.
ain't never gonna get through this video because I get mad. And it
Well,
only takes like 30 seconds of footage to get me going.
and you think there is all kinds of people
Yes,
that are
Jason,
sitting
absolutely.
under this man's preaching and believing it to be the truth. And not only are they listening to him, but they're living accordingly. So when you think about this, don't just think about this man is abusing his wife. He's got a congregation of men under him.
Oh my God, cotton candy. I also had the vibe
Yeah,
because I
I
was
said that
like,
a minute
what
ago.
is there weird about this guy? That's what it is. Oh, I can't. Yes, now you know. Yeah, she started going to the church that is down the street from me and my husband that we go to. Most of the
Well,
time,
cotton candy, not only do children go there, but
I d-
after worship service, they're took into a separate part of the church. Now, I understand having nurseries that you can choose for your kid to go to. I understand
please
that.
help me.
But do not put it in your core value that that's what's going to happen, because everything needs to be in decent and order. Because I'm telling you what, when Jesus spoke about children, he said, suffer the children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven. So
Yes,
you ain't just
Lord.
going to take my kid from my arms and take it into another room without my permission. But of course, this church makes you ask for a permission to give your own opinion.
Cotton candy, thank you for your super sticker love. I just saw it. I thank you so much. You're so sweet. You didn't have to do that.
I see you, Betty Joe.
We can see you, Betty Joe. FAFO. That's where I'm at in this. FAFO right now. Like, if any man needs prayer, it's him, but I don't know if it's going to change a thing. I mean, this guy hit a woman with a car 2 times when he was 19 years old, and he was already a convicted felon at 17. By confession of his own mouth. Crystal, back me up.
Yes.
Jason, I need a cheer too.
He said out of his own mouth he was a felon before he was 17 years old.
I cannot with this.
For over 100 kids to be able to be fed.
And the pastor makes it very clear to his church on multiple occasions that every time someone rises up against him,
Listen to this.
God blesses him.
3 years ago, the elders walked out on me and got so upset about stuff. The city of Myrtle Beach called us and they said, you guys just won the best house of worship award, #1 church in all of Myrtle Beach. I thought, I didn't even know that. I said, how does that happen? They said, we phone call, we poll people all through the community. We look on social media, we see what people are saying, all these different things. And y'all got first place. Oh, that's so cool. 2 years ago when we started the school and people started giving me all kinds of problems and headache and things behind the scenes that had nothing to do with the school at all, got upset, stabbed me in the back. Myrtle Beach called us again. Guess what? Y'all got best church of the year 2 years in a row. That's amazing. You can't keep me down. You're putting fuel in my plane. And guess who's not going to be in the plane? My enemies.
You see what he's doing right there?
Get there.
If you come at me, God's going to bless me. Now, this is what he's trying to do with his congregation. God's going to bless me, and you're going to suffer for it.
I tell you what, that pedestal is like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay?
You know, the Bible also says pride cometh before the fall. And brother,
Sure
I think
does.
you're a fallen.
And it's not going to be one of those, I fell down 2 steps off my porch either.
No,
Okay.
when you get a whooping from God, I think he needs a good one. When you take a whipping from God, you will remember it.
Hey, Sally Mae. Camshaft, I'm serious. I mean, this guy, he gets my blood boiling, and it's because I see a lot of him in my ex. And that's why that's why I'm armed. But it ain't to hurt myself, but I can't promise I won't hurt somebody else if they come for me. That's just the law of this land. Nobody is going to make me do something that I don't want to do. And I wish that this had never happened for Mica, because not everybody's in the place where I am. There was a time when I wasn't in that place. And unless you've been through something traumatic like that, it's kind of hard to really understand. But I don't think I've ever thought for a minute that I've ever considered that. But you can't understand what's in the mind of somebody else.
But that's part of him brainwashing them. Understand, I would say it took him, he probably worked on this to be able to just spew this garbage for years. That's back to that cult mentality.
I want her to rest in peace, but this guy right here, he lives and breathes in my town. And that makes it my business. And I'm going to be watching him. Long after people might have forgotten that Mica is just a memory. And her parents are still suffering. Her family is still suffering because she is no longer with them on earth, whereas she should be, because she's only 30 years old. I just
and
can't.
Dutch, I don't know if you, because that's.
Go ahead.
I mean, because the storm was going in and out, so I don't know if you've mentioned this, but his girlfriend, Susie, her husband died, and he was a paraplegic.
Yeah, I hadn't got to that yet. Yeah.
Oh, you want me to wait?
Yeah, just wait till we get through this, because we're going to have to talk about that, because we did read that one thing about her. That was the girl that ate the pictures are going around where they were seen together, and she says she's not his girlfriend. I read the little text in Justin for TikTok's video that was on the screen when he was interviewing the other lady that said she had also been in a nefarious relationship with JP. He showed Susie's screenshot. And that is apparently another girl at church. And we're going to have to talk about that too, it looks like, because that's a whole nother nefarious can of worms.
Oh, yes.
All right. So let's finish this, and then we'll go to that.
And I pray for you, my enemies. I pray that you come to a place of repentance.
That is the fakest cry I've ever seen in my life.
Do what?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over
when they did the one interview that he done, he was doing that same thing. And that is the fakest cry I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it is. Let me take it back this
time. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You, my enemies. Okay. I pray that you come to a place of repentance. I pray that you realize you're not hurting me. You're hurting the kingdom of God.
And in this sermon, the pastor.
That was so whack.
I mean, you're not hurting me. You're hurting the kingdom of God. Let me tell you. The kingdom of God will be. The Bible says he'll get his number if he has to take it by the child.
He don't need to quit his day job and go into acting.
Preaches that it's wrong for people to rise up against religious leaders.
So long story short, Korah gets 2 other guys that are leaders in the church with him. Those 3 leaders then get 250 Israelite leaders, and they begin to rebel against the leadership of Moses. You say, what did Moses do wrong? That's not the point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The matters is the hierarchy of how God had it set, and they're rising up against him because Satan.
It didn't matter?
Yeah, it didn't matter. The thing about it is why not? Are you saying that I don't need to question my pastor? I beg to differ. And I don't understand where the deacons are in this church, because now, if you want to get real plain about it, they're supposed to be as educated, if not more educated, in that Bible than the pastor, because they are supposed to call him down when he gets out of that Bible. Why isn't that happening?
I don't know. I'm on high alert because this predator is still roaming the streets where I live. And the ones you sometimes got to worry about is the ones you don't see coming. You know, like the wolf in sheep's clothing. That's this guy. I'm sorry. Like, a lot of times people don't really get to hear Dutchy opinions, but today I'm feeling froggy and I think I might jump. That's where I am today.
Loves to use disgruntled people. If you knew every single thing about me, everything I've done wrong, you probably wouldn't be here today, and you probably wouldn't want to be my friend.
And finally, and possibly the most important one, the sister of Mica Miller made this Facebook post on March 17th. It says, I was sitting in church today when I received a text message. Usually I don't check my phone and I keep it on silent. But with everything going on with my sister, I've made it a point to try and keep an eye on it for fear of her safety due to others' behaviors towards her. To no surprise, it was a message about what was said from the pulpit today in Myrtle Beach at her church. I have so much sadness that someone could take the position that was hopefully given to them by God and use it for their own benefit, abusing God's gift of free will. Though she doesn't speak specifically about what was said in the message, here's what
that she loved her life and she was so appreciative. The very next day, something happened and she left. And he didn't know where she went. She just left, left all of her things, left everything she had, everything she worked for, everything. He didn't know what to think. He had no idea what was going on. So he hired a third-party service to find her and see where she was living and that kind of stuff. And they did. And last week they turned in all of their evidence to his lawyer, and he discovered that she had left him for one of his staff members, a young man that he had trained and to learn how to preach. That he had shared his pulpit with him. A young man who the pastor had paid to go to Bible college, gave him a job. He worked hand in hand with the pastor. And in one fleeting moment, the pastor lost his wife and his good friend all at the same time. When he saw the information over at the lawyers, he started to throw up, just throw up. One trash can, second trash can, a third trash can, then he just started to dry heave. He couldn't believe what he saw was the most horrible image and worst thing you could ever imagine. The lawyer drew up the divorce papers. The lawyer told him and said, you have everything you need now. You can be divorced in 3 months. And you'll never have to see her again. You won't have to give her a dime. There's far more than enough information to take care of everything. The pastor said, give me the papers, draw them up. They got all the paperwork ready. They put the pen in his hand, and he just couldn't sign the paper. They said, but don't you see everything and don't you understand? And he called a lot of the elders, and they supported, if he wanted to leave her, just leave her.
Michelle's saying rewind.
I think he's talking about himself too.
He is. He is, and he proves it here in a minute.
Okay, so where do you want me to rewind to? About how far back? Let's see, I'm at 6:45. A minute? No, that's not a rumor. He did have a tracker on her car, Kim.
Yeah.
Let's start right here at 6 minutes.
Trash can, second trash can, a third trash can, then he just started to dry heave. He couldn't believe what he saw was the most horrible image and
further
worst thing
back?
you could ever imagine. The lawyer drew up the divorce papers. The lawyer told him and said, you have everything you need now. You can be divorced in 3 months, and you'll never have to see her again. You won't have to give her a...
Thank you, Kathy P. Go get some rest. Is it further back? We might have to do a part 2, Crystal. I'm telling you, there's so much that I have to say about this. Okay, I did almost a minute. Okay, so you want to go back to like where he starts telling the story? Let's see where he starts telling this story. He irritates me so much, y'all. I cannot. Okay, here we go. Let's try it now.
She loved her life, and she was so appreciative. The very next day, something happened, and she left. And he didn't know where she went. She just left. Left all of her things. Left everything she had, everything she worked for, everything. He didn't know what to think. He had no idea what was going on. So he hired a third-party service to find her and see where she was living and that kind of stuff. And
he hired a third-party service to
last week.
find her.
So he hired a PI to go find her.
And stalk her. See where she was living.
Cut her tires, all the things we saw.
They turned in all of their evidence to his lawyer, and he discovered that she had left him for one of his staff members, a young man that he had trained and to learn how to preach, that he had shared his pulpit with him, a young man who the pastor had paid to go to Bible college, gave him.
So is he insinuating that she left him for another man? I'm just asking for a friend.
That's what he's trying to insinuate. He stalked her, he tracked her, he put a tracker on her car, he deflated her tires
2 times with razors.
Even called using unlisted numbers while the police were there. This woman did everything to get help, and nobody helped her.
Exactly. That's why we're here talking about it.
Hand in hand with the pastor. And in one fleeting moment, the pastor lost his wife and his good friend all at the same time. When he saw the information over at the lawyers, he started to throw up. Just throw up one trash can, second trash can, a third trash can, then he just started to dry heave. He couldn't believe what he saw was the most horrible image and worst thing you could ever imagine. The lawyer drew up the divorce papers. The lawyer told him and said, you have everything you need now. You can be divorced in 3 months, and you'll never have to see her again. You won't have to give her a dime. There's far more than enough information to take care of everything. The pastor said, give me the papers, draw them up. They got all the paperwork ready. They put the pen in his hand, and he just couldn't sign the paper. They said, but don't you see everything, and don't you understand? And
hang on, let me go over here to the chat real quick. I just saw something. Unapproachable light. Yeah, with razors. Yeah, law enforcement was called, and there was a report filed.
Yeah. And then he called.
Same thing about the trackers and everything.
Yeah.
There's a paper trail for so much. It's incredible. Yeah.
he called a lot of the elders, and they supported. If he wanted to leave her, just leave her. This is it. And for some reason, he just couldn't do it. And so he went home and he wrote her a letter. And all he said was, I forgive you for what you've done. And I already forgive you for whatever you're going to do. Whenever you want to be restored, just call. And if you want a divorce, you'll have to leave me, because the Bible says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. He left. And the hardest thing he's ever had to go through, he can't hear from God very clearly. He doesn't know what God wants him to do. He knows that she's not herself and doesn't know how to handle it or how to respond. The rage, the rejection, the relationship, it's all there. And so if you get a chance, pray that his heart does not remain angry or upset.
Not broken. Notice that, you all. If you get a chance, pray that his heart does not remain angry, not broken.
Oh my goodness.
To me, I think that's very telling right there.
Jody, because he wants to look like the victim. There needs to be a victim in the story, and it can't be her. Someone put you in timeout somewhere.
And for those who say he may not have been talking about Mica in that clip, take a listen to this.
Yeah, I'm right here.
It's the worst sermon I've ever preached my whole life. I can't stand it. I just want to give the altar call and quit now. One day, listen, if you ever want to know what I'm going through in life, it's always about what I'm preaching about. God is so good to do that every single time.
Remember,
did you catch that?
The only one to announce that Mica.
Yep. He thinks he's God, though, unapproachable light. That's the vibe. I'm just saying, that's the vibe that I get from him. Yes, me.
I mean, he also got behind that same pulpit and said, sometimes you can get so angry, you just want to shoot somebody with a bazooka.
It's facts.
Took her own life was her husband. Police have not. And the investigation continues.
God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? Just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that?
Pauline is seen leaving her classroom, then entering a faculty bathroom. Then you see Philip peeking out of the classroom, maybe thinking that he's not going to follow her.
People.
He comes back out, pulls up his hood, and you can see Philip.
I don't know what in the world that is playing. We don't need that. I don't know what in the world. Okay.
That's right. It's ironic. He isn't he's what God warns us about.
Amen to that. Well, we've been here for 2 hours and we still have a lot of stuff to go over. So
I think we need to mention that one thing though, because some people's been talking about it in chat.
The girlfriend supposedly?
Yes.
Okay.
His alleged girlfriend, her husband was a paraplegic. And he drowned in a swimming pool a little after 5 in the morning. And JP preached his funeral.
How does he... How does a quadriplegic man end up in the neighbor's swimming pool
at 5 something in the morning?
At 5 in the morning down the street. I mean, I've got questions.
I mean, when me and Dutch was looking this up, y'all, I found this man. I was like, well, now this can't be him. This guy drowned it.
Yeah, it was him.
It was him.
Okay, so let me take you over to this article. The things that happen where I live. I mean, you can't make this up. September of 2021, South Carolina man Christopher Skinner ID'd as victim found dead Monday in a Myrtle Beach swimming pool in this neighborhood right here, which is just right down from the Horry Georgetown Technical Community College Grand Strand campus. You see it right there. And it says he was 41 years old and he was found unresponsive in a Myrtle Beach swimming pool on Monday morning. According to reports, Skinner was found floating in a Market Common swimming pool near his Beaumont Way home around 8 a.m. and he drowned due to asphyxiation. It was ruled accidental, according to officials. Let's see if we can find anything else. I've got his obituary. Let me see if I can get over here to that. I'll share my screen.
I'd like to know how they come up with it was ruled accidental. It seems like they're real good at putting a pretty little bow.
So you could see this is him, and he had an accident when he was younger. Let's see. Born in Virginia, you never forget the moment that you met Chris. He was a man who loved Jesus, and apparently he did lots of speaking at the church. He loved his family, loved his friends, and loved life. After being paralyzed at age 20, he passionately pursued sharing his story of tragedy to triumph with everyone he met. He's spoken to over 1 million people. He believed his greatest purpose was to be a loving daddy and husband, and he's survived by his wife, Suzanne Skinner, which is the person that is was seen in a picture, which I'll show you that here in just a second. And there was a GoFundMe for his family. And then there's his memorial service on September 12th, Solid Rock at Market Common. His house was just down from the church. I kid you not. Yes. So let me go back over here to my Facebook.
Well, Debbie, according to her, yes, he was known to go there alone. I would think this, if I had a routine of doing something, and I done it a lot, that's even more reason that I'm not going to get too close to the edge of the pool.
I don't understand what he would be doing out there at 5 a.m.
I don't either. Good night, Jason.
Night, Jason. Okay, so also I want to share this real quick. Yes, share the entire screen, crazy. Okay, before we go any further, can we just talk about this?
I'm on my phone. I can't even see that.
Well, it says JP and Mica Miller is at True Blue Computers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Myrtle Beach.
Yes, read that.
Hashtag pornography. Don't strike. Men, please bring your devices to hashtag True Blue Computers in Myrtle Beach for $25. You will never be able to look at anything that could A, destroy your destiny, B, destroy your marriage or sex life, C, destroy your mind. Wives, you must be incredibly giving and encouraging and never reject or deny your husband.
Are you? That makes me mad every single time.
Well, I felt like that was the reason I needed to play this or show this before we got to the other stuff. David, Samson, Solomon all struggled in this area. I don't give an F because I wasn't there when David, Samson, and Solomon was roaming this earth. Okay? I might feel like Methuselah, but I am not that old. No matter how spiritual, strong, or wise a man is, this is a battle that the enemy knows could ruin his life forever. Thank you to all the wives who are willing to help their husbands to be overcomers and winners in life and in the bedroom. I'm done.
Okay, so let's break this down. What have we learned? If a woman talks to another woman because something's on her mind, that's a demon. But women, if your husband is into those kind of videos, we'll put it that way, you need to be patient with him. It's because you're denying him. Miss me with that garbage.
Preach it, girl, preach.
I'd like him to show me scripture where it says, sorry, Dutchie.
If I'm close enough for him to show me scripture, he might get a punch. I'm just saying. I'm feeling froggy today. This man makes my blood pressure go up, and I don't mean in a way that is like
So
positive.
having to talk to your friend is a devil. That's a demon. But men watching those videos is a struggle. Make that make sense, you all, because that is the biggest bunch of hogwash I've ever heard in my born days.
Look at the emoji of. I wonder how many people. Look, I'm fixing to put the surprise face on here. Wait a minute, it won't let me. No, we're not going to like it because that is not enough. We have to put the wow face.
I do. It's Cold Case Crystal. It's iconic.
Yes, let me. Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Please sub up to Cold Case Crystal. Also, God's Amazing Grace with Crystal. Also, Crystal Case Crystal. Also, Crystal Connections, and also known as No Filter Fanny. I had to get it all in there because you never know what you're going to get, you know? Sometimes it be like Jesus, and sometimes it be like
Thank you, Summer.
No Filter Fanny, and you're going to know all about it.
And sometimes you might just get No Filter Fanny talking about Jesus. But I mean,
it's happened. I've been there. Yes. Now, this was a very interesting post that I did want to make sure that we talked about too, because I felt like it was very relevant. We watched a grown man groom a youth member for years. We watched him take absolutely everything from her. We watched him destroy her mentally. We watched him destroy his own family during the process. We've watched him play God over a congregation for over a decade. He is a true wolf in sheep's clothing. He has stayed untouchable. He has put himself at the top of everything. He has gotten away with all of his wrongdoings. I'm so sorry, Mica Miller. You deserve better. You deserved our help and our love, and I will carry this guilt forever, knowing I should have done so much more. I can't change the past, but I will not stay quiet any longer. To all of the old SRM members, I hope you feel the same. Enough is enough. We have to bring this man down from the pulpit. Hashtag justice for Mica.
Thank you. It's ironic.
And I feel like that is, I mean, even though Mica's no longer with us, she still deserves justice. And I feel like what was done to her is wrong.
I think a suit should definitely be brought against him.
Absolutely.
He did not have to be there in person to unalive her. He was doing it bit by bit, day by day.
This was another interesting thing on the church website before they took it down. He created the church on and out of adultery and still continued to do so. JP and the church kept trying to create division between me and my husband while we were there. I was told I couldn't serve because I wasn't good enough. I had issues and that my heart wasn't in the kingdom. Meanwhile, the pastor is cheating on his wife, but I'm the one with issues. We had seen him belittle his wife in front of us at dinner many times. He was intimidated by strong, outspoken women and wanted to shut them down any chance he got. Boy, you don't want to meet me. He got mad at my husband for choosing me over the church. What pastor does that? What pastor buys part ownership of a bar? It is time for his abuse to stop. It is time for people to stop covering up and covering for this man. Too many lives have been hurt because of this man, and now a life has been lost because of this man. Stand up and keep speaking out. Hashtag justice for Mica. And this is why I'm doing this live stream. Because not everybody makes it out of these situations because there's no telling what he told her. We have no idea. I mean, I feel like anybody who's been through something like this, well, you do have an idea. Because if you've been through this battle, you know what manipulation, gaslighting, threats, stalking, you know what's involved. I can't imagine what he put her through.
It breaks my heart because she
Me
reached
too.
out to people in the church. Nobody helped. She reached out to law enforcement. Nobody helped.
Are we dating the same guy, Myrtle Beach, Horry County, Florence County? You've got to be kidding me. So now he's already out on the dating sites. Yeah.
You're right, Summer. If he'd say that behind a pulpit, imagine what he was saying at home.
This man is sick. You daggone right. I like that comment.
You know, I knew a woman, Dutch. I think that's why this bothers me so bad. And she too has passed away. Not from taking her own life. But she was married to a man. He was a preacher. And he did her the same way. He belittled her every chance that he had. She was never smart enough. She was never pretty enough. Couldn't be godly enough. This woman stayed in the hospital for years. He treated her horrible. And then when she passed away, 3 months later, he was dating another woman.
Yep.
When she didn't even have flowers on her grave. And I knew her personally. She was my sister.
My gosh. I'm so sorry for your sister.
I think that's why this bothers me so bad. Is because I seen her put up with this same bullcrap.
Yeah.
You be the obedient pastor's wife. And because of her kids, she put up with it. And ultimately, she was in and out of the hospital. I know there was months that I went and would bath her and take care of her. And she'd be right there by herself. She spent months in the hospital when he didn't come and visit.
Here's another person that said, once upon a time, a pastor set his sights on my family at one of the hardest moments in our lives. His aim wasn't to help us. It was to take advantage and to use our vulnerability. I can't even talk. I am so thankful for my husband's discernment because our time at that church was short. Some of my other family members were not as lucky, and it took time for them to escape this man's claws. I watched so much drama unfold involving this pastor while the church sat quietly trying to make sense of his manipulation. One of the most troubling things I watched is how he took everything from one young girl who eventually became his wife. I wholeheartedly believe that none of this would have happened if it wasn't for this supposed man of God. And one of the friends had told me that basically that he had an affair. She was the babysitter, I guess, for his kids at one time, and he started having an affair with her on his first wife. See, that's what I showed you guys earlier. That's her little paper that I was given. See, that's what I was looking for, to see if there was any. I didn't see anything else. I was thinking there was.
Thank you, Cherokee girl.
Yeah, everybody wore their shirts to the memorial too. And you can get a shirt over on the Facebook page, Justice for Mica. You said the link was over there, right, Michelle? On the Facebook page. It's just very heartbreaking. And I feel like in order for us to cover this accurately, this was the girlfriend, supposedly, which is Susie Skinner. That's them out at Coastal Grand Mall.
He sure does, don't he, Debbie?
I don't know. It's just, this case is so odd. I don't know. Did they take the other stuff down? Because I'm not seeing anything right now. Maybe it's on, I don't know. Let me go over here and look to see if it's on something else. Let me. Because there was that thing where that we looked at about when she talks about her husband. Remember we watched that video?
Yeah.
Where she was talking about her husband's passing?
Well, if they get them young, unapproachable, the thing about it is,
yeah, and here's
the
on
more
this article.
Go ahead, Dutch.
I got the article. That's all I was saying. See here, it says the girlfriend's name is Susie Skinner, and this girlfriend has an interesting past. Susie and Pastor John Paul have been actually dating for quite a while, and that's interesting because the pastor and Mica Miller were not legally divorced. Skinner's husband, Chris, died in 2021 following a drowning accident at a local pool. He was paralyzed and wheelchair bound and ended up falling in the unattended community pool. And it does say that it's an accident, but apparently, I was thinking this was the one that had the video attached, but it doesn't have the video. There was one that did have the video attached, but I'm not seeing it right now. Oh, here it is. This one, it was this article that was called, it was from Solid Rock, Myrtle Beach, but see, that was taken down, the website, but somebody screenshot it, and this is the things that you find. Welcome, Debbie Doodles, to members. Yay! Thank you so much for joining. Was this, and you can see it says solidrockmyrtlebeach.com at the top. Spotlight on Susie Skinner. And it says healing hands are biblical. And in the case of Susie and Chris Skinner, it talks about how they met when he was in a physical therapy, blah, blah, blah. And it gives like this whole thing, but you know, they took all of that down. And so of course on Reddit, they go into this whole, it's a whole rabbit hole. And who knows rabbit holes better than Crystal?
Oh goodness. I go down a rabbit
I'm gonna
hole.
send you on a rabbit hole over there. I'm scared of Reddit. Those people scare me over there. So I haven't really got into all the things. I was hoping I was going to be able to find that video though. Let me see if I can search the video under.
Well, Summer, while she's looking for that, I know you said that kind of there ain't no one at the church laying hands on me. That member said that like a week before, I think it was like a week before Micah passed, that a bunch of the elders of the church got together and had a prayer that she would hit her rock bottom to come back. Who does that, you all?
Maybe it was on Facebook. I bet you that's him right there, Chris Skinner. It might have been on Facebook. I was thinking that it was over here, but it's obviously not. Mashing buttons, y'all. Hang on. Put your seatbelts on and we might go to the moon. See, and it's only given me X amount of things. It's not. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it's not good. No, groups. That's not going to be what I want. No. That's not her. I don't know what happened to it. Apparently it's not on here anymore. I don't know. Maybe she privated it. I'll have to go see if I can find that video because that video was really important, I think. I don't know. I don't see it on here for some reason. I'll have to go back and find it. I'll try to have it for next time because I think that is, I just feel like it's interesting because I don't know if his was really an accident. I mean, what was he doing at the community pool at 5 a.m.? If you're a quadriplegic, wouldn't you be in your house where you're safe? How did you get all the way down to the community pool? I mean, that don't even make sense to me. That sounds like a setup. I'm just saying. Can we find out how he became ordained? I'm sure through his daddy. You know, his daddy ran a church in Florence, South Carolina, and he went to federal prison for using international students at his Bible college in Florence, South Carolina as slaves underage slaves at his Bible school in Florence and pled guilty. Yeah. And he did, and
Didn't
he
he
did on a
also get in
bar.
trouble, and correct me if I'm wrong, for soliciting is
I didn't see that on his file. Oh, the father? His father?
yes.
I'll have to go back and look to make sure. I don't want to say yes and not no. So I'm not sure on that one, but it's very possible. I've heard that they're up to their ears in bullshit. Excuse my French, y'all. But I don't even know what else to say about that. And the bar that it was
Well,
alleged that he owns, well, it turns out, y'all, he did own a bar. Yes, you heard it first from me because I have some inside local tea from sources that I cannot name that just happen to know the people that work at said bar, and the bar has actually been signed over to his son, and it's not in his name. How convenient.
well,
Yeah, don't judge South Carolina, y'all. Please don't. Not all of us are crazy. Although I do.
When his dad got in trouble, everything was signed over. They changed the name of the church. That's when it became Solid Rock. And then he stepped up as senior pastor. So it's a generational curse. I mean,
it really is. You want to think you're able to break those generational curses, but let's face it, some people don't break those generational curses. They fall right in line with what's going down. And, his brother, by the way, and I did actually share this on my Facebook, and I didn't even know that was JP Miller's brother, but his brother got arrested in Conway, South Carolina back in January for breaking a beer bottle over a woman's head. And she had to go to the hospital and get stitches. At said bar that he owned. How convenient. So he probably put that out of his name, because he don't want anybody to take his money. I ain't never heard of no pastor on no bar. I'm just saying. Elizabeth Pot Meat Kettle. We do on our crazy summer. There's good crazy and there's bad crazy. And this is bad crazy. He is an example of bad crazy. I got to keep my eye on him because I don't be doing crazy. That's why I don't be peopling. Because we got people out here like this.
If he is not called out and people don't start realizing
could be
what he's about, keep this in mind. They are in the process of building the biggest church there is in South Carolina.
Yeah. It's not
It will
good.
only get worse. Only get worse.
Rondi, I think, like father, like son. You ever heard that saying? That is a fact in this situation. And it's very, very sad, because even Jesus wasn't strong enough to break those chains. He still can do it for him.
Yeah.
He still can turn over a leaf. He still can do it for him. But you got to want to give it to him. Okay? Because Jesus don't force you to give it up. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring it to him and lay it down at his feet, and then don't pick it back up.
Yeah, unlike JP, Jesus is not an abusive father.
Hey, preach it, girl.
He won't force you to do anything. Grace is a gift, freely gave, but you can deny taking it.
That's right. Preach.
And what this man preached behind the pulpit, that wasn't of the Lord. It wasn't. What he preached behind the pulpit was manipulation. And my Lord is not a manipulator.
Hey, Lynn.
Bible says, try the spirit, see if it be of God. Many have come in my name, but few say that they are of God. Many are called and few are chosen. This is a prime example of it. But you know what? The Bible also says, woe unto the man that scattereth my flock.
Yeah. Welcome, Griffey. Thank you for being here. Welcome in, pull up a seat, grab a trigger warning, because we're talking about some tough stuff, but I'm actually getting ready to close it out because it's almost midnight. We've been here for almost 3 hours, and we still have a lot to talk about because I still got questions. I still got videos I want y'all to watch. I just don't think we can cover all the damage this man has done in this one live stream, and I want to keep it respectful to Mica. But I think it's really important to look at all the signs, because anyone that's going to come out and say, oh, well, we're on JP's side, I actually did see some people that were saying things like, well, she had mental illness, she was schizophrenic, no, you need to get out of here with that. Don't go blaming her. You have no idea what he put her through that might have forced her into a corner. What if he was threatening her family and she did it to protect them or something? I mean, we don't know all the circumstances, the things he was telling her.
And people, when you are, everybody can only go so far, y'all. My granny used to say you can break any old horse.
Summer, pray for us too, because he done made me cuss a lot too. I mean, we can be righteous anger at this. I mean, for me, that's what it feels like. I mean, I try to be a very forgiving person, but sir, I got my eye on you because you still breathing. You still out here committing crimes, acting a fool, talking down to your congregation, talking down to other women, trying to pick up other women while you were still married, and LOLing and all this business. Get out of here with that mess.
And not only that, but he's planning on expanding.
Yeah, and building the biggest church in Myrtle Beach. I will put a flyer on every telephone pole in this beach if I have to. I will tragedy pimp and put my Cash App out to make sure I put up a billboard that says justice for Mica. Somebody take this man's Bible and smack him with it. I will listen. We'll have to come up with a really catchy billboard to call down Jesus to come get JP or something, because I mean, we can't have this.
Dutch, don't you got some pictures of the memorial?
Yeah, I did share them at the beginning of the live, and let me get over here and I'll share them again. And I know there was some people that said that that this picture, by the way, wasn't her. I know exactly where this store is. I have been to shop in this Dick's Pawn Shop, and I have seen some other clear pictures of her face in this, and it's her. I don't know. It weirds me out that when she's buying the firearm, she's smiling. Don't you think
I would like to know where her tattoo is in that picture. I am going to say that. I can't help but her hand has a tattoo on it. In that
is it on her right hand or on her left hand?
Well, you got to think that's a security camera. You can't do a mirror image on a security camera. It has to show it exactly the way it is.
So.
And in the other photo, the photo was shot from the front because somebody took the picture. So that's not mirrored either.
And who pays their taxes, borrows money from somebody to pay your taxes, but you're not planning on being here, and makes a hair appointment for that next Tuesday to get their hair done?
Who gets gas?
Well, I mean, she might have been out of gas, but I'm real interested to know more about that. And somebody told me that she has 2 different Honda Civics.
Yeah, a white one and a black one.
The more you know.
Well, have you the picture of her at the gas station? Do you notice that man ain't pumping gas? She's not pulled up to the gas pumps to get gas, but he's sure staring at that vehicle.
Is this out in Fair Bluff?
It's wherever she got gas at that day. But her car ain't even pulled up to the gas pumps. He's not pumping gas. I think it was AJ that cleared that picture up.
He's just standing there.
Yep. But he's looking right dead into her car.
Somebody asked me if it was possible that he could have hired somebody. Don't you think it's possible? Anything's possible, right? I mean, this guy hit a woman with his car 2 times at age 19.
And he's still walking on the road. He's still walking around.
Airplane mode is on.
Yep.
Somebody said they ran the phone number to this phone and it wasn't registered.
Well, the thing that gets me is that, did you notice in the 911 call, she said, "Can you give me the number you're calling from?" Wait a minute. That would have automatically popped up. Why is she having to ask for the number?
None of this makes sense to me.
Look at them pictures again. Green Eyed Girl says, "Do you notice the car on the highway doesn't have tinted windows, but the one at the gas station does have tinted windows?"
She looks like she's put on a lot of weight, but she looks thin in her Facebook videos. But here she looked, I mean, when they zoomed in on her picture, she looked like she weighed a lot more too. Well, it might be the sun glare too. Because that front one don't look tinted. I can see straight into the car. I think that maybe the inside, the way that the glare is, like maybe it's the headrest or something that's the shadow on it. But in the front, that front window looks clear to me. Can you see the dash?
Yeah, if the window ain't rolled down.
You know, it looks like there's a glare on it. It don't look rolled down to me. Wish I could
I'm on
zoom
my
in on
phone,
that.
so I can't see it too good because I'm on my phone. So,
and of course, I did see that he obviously got a police report to have the police go out to her apartment because he wanted to collect her stuff. She was divorcing you. You shouldn't be able to collect anything from her, in my opinion. Let's see what other pictures I've got over here. And here's some of these statements from the probate court. These affidavits, you know, that were signed by her siblings, that were written out. The petitioner saying that I'm Mica's younger sister and, you know, who she was raised by, and that she spoke to Mica every few days. And that Mica would drive and visit her where she lived. And she has expressed the abuse and violence against her by her husband to others, including family members and members of the church congregation. And Mica told her that people were following her, keeping track of where she went. She thought that Mr. Miller hired people to follow her, and that Mr. Miller later confirmed this during a sermon I watched. Mica confided in me that Mr. Miller was moving assets that were in his name, the bar, such as his vehicle, changing the deed to their home to the church, transferring interest in Crocodile Rocks to one of his sons. That's the bar. That's a piano bar. That makes a lot of money. It makes a lot of money. Trust and believe that. They have dueling pianos in there. And during the summertime, that place is packed. You can't even walk in the door. There's so many people standing up in there. Yeah. In February 2024, Mr. Miller removed my sister's personal items from the house they shared while she was admitted to Waccamaw Mental Health Facility and left them at the apartment of a certain person. And my sister was not aware that her personal possessions had been removed from her residence until she was released from the hospital. The fook. And I guess this talks about they had to bring an attorney for filing divorce to support her claims against Mr. Miller. And as to his abuse, character, his paramours, see what I'm saying? Like they knew. And associates that he paid off or blackmailed. While at the facility, those documents, emails, files, etc. were removed from her phone, personal laptop, vehicle, and purse and were never recovered. Because she had all of those files, and he went through her. That's why he had her admitted to the hospital, because he knew she had dirt on him, in my personal opinion.
Griffey put in chat, the national parks were special to him and his dad. Yes, that's what I was talking about earlier, Dutch.
So further, Mica was unable to access her iCloud account, her email, or her Facebook profile, and Mr. Miller continued using at least one of Mica's accounts. I guess, causing any recipient to believe it was Mica's communications. This guy is nefarious AF. I'm sorry. No wonder she was feeling the way she was feeling. Yeah, Betty Joe, I knew you were close to that area. Y'all, this is insane. Mica talked about what she wanted her life to be like following her divorce from Mr. Miller, having traveled for a church mission this past fall from October 13th to October 27th. Mica was interested to participate in additional missions, even to live part-time in Kenya. Mica recently shipped some of her personal items to Kenya in preparation of her stay there. My sister was hopeful for her future after filing for divorce from John Paul. My sister also expressed to me that she was fearful that she would not make it to the divorce and that her life would be taken from her. It is my belief, based on conversations with my sister, that she told multiple people, including other family members. Mica stated to me on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was JP. Mica forwarded a family group text notifying that Mr. Miller was served the divorce papers on April 25th of 2024. On April 27th, my sister, Mica A. Miller, was found deceased as the result of a gunshot wound in Lumberton, North Carolina. I have the full support of my family in my request to be appointed as special administrator, and I take this request and my potential appointment to this role very seriously. Sierra Francis. The pastor that owns a bar is into blackmail. My goodness. I don't know any person in the books of the Bible, John Paul, that you would qualify to get into the Bible. I'm just saying. I mean, I can't imagine what that book would read like, but it sounds like you would need several chapters to walk all this back because, sir, I'm inclined to believe the family. And of course, this one is from Nathaniel, and that is her only brother. I mean, this is crazy. So, you know, it's just not good. It's not a good look at all. Let me get over here to the chat. Lynn, you were there. I was there too. I probably saw you. You just probably didn't recognize me. But I was there. Someone went out in JP's area and he followed him. Just be careful. Oh, well, I won't be going out there. You can guarantee I don't be peopling. But I have people that let me know what's going on. I'm not JLR. I'm not like I'm not on top of every single thing, you know, there with my camera and all the things. So, me too, Debbie. I'm angry at the way he portrays God. I think he thinks he's God. Yeah, it was nice, Lynn. It sure was. It was heartbreaking. And Rondi, we can go over that, but you know, I don't really want to play like, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, and there's just no need to, like, I don't want to play her 911 call and all of that. Like, it's just too triggering. I just don't know if it's appropriate at this point. You know, they put flower petals in the water, the same place that she was baptized. That's where my husband and I were baptized. Because we go to Valorious. Well, sometimes we do. I do a lot of the online stuff, but it used to be Barefoot Church before it was Valorious. And that's where they do all their baptisms out there at the Horseshoe. And my husband and I were baptized together. It's been probably about 10 or 11 years ago, probably. We've done it a couple times out there. It's really nice. Yeah, that whole story too. Like, I want to talk about that next time for sure. And we'll definitely do that. Are you guys interested in having a part 2? Let me know in the chat. Uh-oh. Are you tangling with Astro, Sally Mae? Y'all keep it classy in the chat now. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. As long as it's said respectfully, we're all good in the hood. And I appreciate y'all just, if you can't, you know, talk to somebody, you know, y'all have the block button. You can block each other if you need to. But we can all be adults in here. You know, me and Crystal don't agree on a lot of things, but you know what? She's my sister. And I love her. And look, she's here on panel with me. Is it not true?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's very true. There's
100%.
lots of things. There's lots of things, but that's how you have constructive conversation. I like to hear what other people think about things. And that's a lot of times why I ask people to come up on panel, because I want to hear their thoughts, because there's people that I respect. You know, I respect my friends. I respect the people that are my teammates when we talk about these cases. And there's a lot of times that we may not see things the same way, but I do want to hear what they have to say, because we always have very constructive conversations. And a lot of times I'll walk away going, well, you just gave me something to chew on. Like, I gotta think about what you've told me. And then, you know, I can understand where they're coming from. And likewise, they always hear me out, you know, and then we can talk about, like, okay, well, now I understand where you're coming from. Or, you know, I didn't really see it that way before. And sometimes you got to hear somebody out to have those really difficult conversations. And don't forget, if you're going through something very difficult, reach out to your friends. There are people in this community that care about you, but also remember to use the links. You know, if you need to dial 988, there's going to be somebody there that's going to offer you the support that you need. You know, the hotlines for domestic violence have been dropped. If there's a particular link and you need to share it with a friend, you can always message me or Michelle Macklin or Cold Case Crystal, Arctic Fox. We'll be happy to share a link with you anytime. Any of my moderators, any of the links in my mod chat, you are free to use those on any other channel that you moderate for. I put those links together with the help of my friends, and I want those to be utilized on other channels. Because
Kim has a very good point.
That's part of helping everybody out, you know. I honestly, Micah has me thinking, looking at the verbal abuse she went through. Now look at what we are doing to victims and their family in these chats. People, words hurt. That's exactly right, Kim. So, you know, when I think about what's happening in Sebastian Rogers' case, it makes me very sad. Because you don't know if the parents are involved. If law enforcement doesn't have any evidence, but you're going out here saying all these wild things, making up that Chris has a voice changer and he's calling into shows. No, he's not. You know, and these people that are pretending to be neighbors and all of this stuff and putting out all of this massive lies against the family, like, that is not helping find Sebastian. Can you imagine how sad Sebastian will be when he finds out how much y'all have trashed his parents? And that goes for Seth too. And yeah, there's things that Seth has done that I don't like at all. But I mean, am I going to get on a live stream and like call him names and belittle his appearance and all that? Probably not. Because is it helping Sebastian? No. Does he irritate me? Yes. But Sebastian matters. He is the main reason that we are talking about his case. And he gets lost in people attacking Kate. Come over here, Katie. What are you doing? I'm busy over here talking about your kid, and you're just living the life, relaxing, being lazy. You don't know what these parents are doing. It's disgusting. Griffey, the church, McLeod Seacoast is by my house, on the north end. Now, the Valorious Church is probably about 2 or 3 miles from my house where she started going, but JP's church is down in Market Common, and that is probably about 45 minutes south of me. That's by the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. That's where Market Common is built. It's built in the middle of the Air Force Base, what used to be the old Air Force Base. They turned it into a huge up-end community out there with Charleston-style homes and stuff like that. So, can you imagine what this family's being put through, though, Sebastian's family, with all this stuff? I mean, these things hurt.
Well, it's not just that case. We see it all the time. And it's just like it's getting worse. I mean, without evidence, there's no need to go after people.
Thank you.
Now,
It's horrific.
I know tonight we've been talking about JP, but we've only been talking about things we know. We've used
Yeah.
his own words, stuff
Yeah.
he said that isn't, it's not appropriate. And it's
And
very
factual court
abusive. And
documents.
yes, and you can actually see what was done.
Yeah, I only come with the facts. I mean, we use the people's own words, their own videos, people's statements that have been made, that have been interviewed. I've actually spoke to a couple people locally who've told me some crazy stuff that's still mind blowing that I'm not going to put out. Because I mean, I'm blown away by some of the things people have told me. So that's when I started researching, and I was able to see that other people had put out some of the stuff that I had FOIA'd before I got it. But I'd already, put in a FOIA, Michelle and I did, for some of the stuff. And Fitz News has done a lot of research. So I looked to them because they covered a lot of case information. They covered the Murdaugh trial very well. And so that's some of the stuff that I want to play for you too on the next live is some stuff from Fitz News. Will Folks does a really good job talking about some of the information and stuff that I think that you'll find interesting about Mica. So we still have more to talk about because we can't allow this predator to what if he hurts somebody else? Because listen, Micah's not here, but he still is, and he's living and breathing. And it's not just going to end with her.
No.
A leopard
No.
don't lose his spots. And listen, he is deep in this. This is a trending situation that he has not been able to break the chains from since he was convicted a felon and since he was 17 years old, according to the records that I got.
According to his own words.
According to his
he
own
got
words.
behind the pulpit and said, I was a felon by the time I was 17 years old.
Rhonda, you take care, darling, and come back for the next live. Hey, Pindar. If y'all like live music and singing, y'all need to sub up to Pindar because that's a fun little place that I like to hang out when I don't feel like talking about these cases because this is stressful stuff for me. But it's important that we talk about the hard stuff because if we can be there to support somebody who is in a domestic violence situation, someone who is having thoughts about harming themselves, we can reach out and be someone they can lean on, and we can give them the resources to get the help that they need. If you know somebody that's suffering and you need to get these links because you have somebody, listen, you can email me at duchessforthemissing@gmail.com and I'll send them to you. If you're a moderator and you want to take those links and use them in other channels or pass them on to your friends that have channels, please do. They're not my links. They're links that are out there to help people, and that's what we do in this community. We don't beat up on other people. We call out the truth. We speak in facts. We show receipts. We call out bad behaviors. We stay focused on the cases, and we help others. We lift others up. In this community, we help women fix their crown and get them back on the road. We pray for them. We don't beat them over the head with their crown and take our foot and stomp them in the ground. But if you come at me sideways, well, you and Jesus might have to have a talk. But I'm not that kind of person. And I don't like to be that person. Because I like to lift people up. Because I've been in hard places before. I've been in tough spots where I didn't have anybody to lean on. And I thank God for the one or two people that I did have. And I'm in a better place now. So I can help other people. And so, when you go to bed at night, if you're not a praying person and you're just a positive vibes person, whatever it is, do that. Send out the kindness that's so needed, because there's a lot of toxic people that are out here. Just be really mindful, take good care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So remember to go out and touch grass and breathe in fresh air. Take time for yourself away from the internet. It's okay to do that. If you can't make it to one of my live streams, I have moderators that are so awesome. They're like, Dutchie, I just don't think I can make it. My kid's in town, or my mom's coming over, or I want to spend. Listen, you don't ever have to explain it to me. Just know that if you know that you need to log off and do things in your real life and spend time with your family, that's what matters. Because that matters to me. I want to know that the people that come to my channel are taking care of themselves, and that if they ever need something, they can reach out to me. Because there are people in this community that are good people, and I'm not going to let the people that are toxic in this community ever change the person that I am. And that's just how it is. And and you guys can go wherever you want to on YouTube. I ain't your mama. Okay? I go to Drama Channel. I go to all kinds of places because sometimes I just have to free my mind. I'm a human being. I can express my thoughts and feelings. So you might see me in all kinds of places. That don't make me a bad person. It don't make you a bad person. But be wise about the decisions that you make, because you might find yourself caught up in some bullshit. And that's why you don't see me in some people's chats, because if I see you doing some cray-cray stuff, I probably won't be there. It's not an airport. I don't have to announce my departure, baby. You know what I'm saying? I just won't be there. I'll just go log off and do my laundry and walk my dog and go visit my friends and, go get my nails done and go shopping at TJ Maxx and go lay out on the beach and get some sunshine. And I ain't going to think about your butt. Okay? I think about my friends. I care about the people. It's reciprocal, you know? I love y'all. I hope y'all have an amazing week. We're almost to Friday. Y'all hang on. Just hang on tight to the side rails. We're almost to Friday. I will try to see. Yeah, I've got appointments tomorrow, and I've got an appointment on Friday. But I'll try to see if we can do a live stream maybe this weekend. I'll get with Crystal and a couple other people that might want to come up and chit chat about this case and see what I can work out. And I'll let you know when we can do a part 2. We do it tomorrow if I didn't have appointments, but I'll be out of the house all day. So, but I appreciate all y'all coming by to join me. Thank you to all of the new members for becoming a member tonight. Cam Shaft and Sonia became a new member. We had some membership renewals that I saw in the chat. I just want to thank everybody for being here. Vibrator became a new member. I don't know why it didn't star all of my memberships tonight. And then also, Chapped Ass gave 10 memberships, and T. Marie gifted 5 memberships. And I just want to say thank you so very much for supporting this channel. Because when you guys do that, it helps me to be able to help more people. It helps me to be able to reach more people and put out these billboards and do all of those wonderful, amazing things that I like to do. By the way, Sebastian's billboard is live and active. I did speak with Katie and Chris, and we went over all of those things. And this is what the new billboard is going to look like. She did send me a more clear picture of the Costco picture. And the reward fund is actually not a reward fund. I was actually told that lawyer that made the letter of intent for the $3,500 never followed through with it. And he was also cited by the bar in the state of Tennessee because he was involved in some fraud. And so Seth was out there telling people to donate to the reward fund, but the reward fund was never actually a fund at all. It was just a letter of intent that never went through. So there's actually no reward fund. So they asked me to remove that from the billboard, and I was very disappointed to hear that. So this is the active billboard, and you can see they are running through June the 8th. Thanks to the wonderful members, moderators, subscribers, and my husband. I couldn't do it without you guys. You guys make all of these wonderful things possible. And I know that their family appreciates you so very much. So, Crystal, thank you for being here. And I hope that you'll come back for part 2, because I think we have a lot more to talk about on this case.
Well, thank you for having me. And Elizabeth, I'll be praying for those bottle babies. And everybody remember, it takes 0 effort to be a good human being.
Amen to that, sister. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. And we will catch up tomorrow, and we'll plan to do a part 2 then.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, take care, sis. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and let you guys go get some shut-eye. Got a couple more things to do. Got to go walk the dog before I go to bed. I think the rain has finally stopped. So need to go take the pup out for a pee potty and do all the things. Elizabeth, your little baby kitties are so cute. I just love them so very much. Give them a smooch for me. Thank you, Pendar, for being here. And I appreciate you being a member, too. You're welcome, Griffey. If you ever need anything, just reach out and email me. Happy to help any way that I can. Yay, Pendar, you've been a member for 2 months. I appreciate you so much. That's right, pup, pee. That's right. And I also got to go make sure hubby is not still asleep on the couch, because normally that's where he passes out, because he's been working so hard, y'all. So I got to go check on him. He's been in there patiently babysitting the baby so I could talk to you guys about this case. So y'all, justice for Mica, because I still think that even though she is no longer with us, she deserves justice. And so do the other women who have been subject to whatever JP has done to them, because I feel like that there is more than just Mica out there that has been through something with this man. And we've got to be the light in the darkness. Because, you know, when you cut the light on, the cockroaches run. But we got to expose them. We can't let this one go unseen, because then it's just going to escalate. So we got to keep an eye. So y'all keep praying for justice for Mica. And until next time, guys, my name is Duchess. This is where we talk about true crime and missing cases. Don't forget, break the silence against domestic violence. There's always a hotline that you can call, free, 24/7 confidential, at the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. Her fight is my fight. Don't forget, domestic violence awareness is so very important. Share this live stream. Share it for Mica. It's the right thing to do. And until next time, guys, like Crystal said, it takes 0 effort to be a good human being. If you see something, say something. It's really important. Love you guys. Good night, y'all.